Welcome everyone to Giant Bombcast episode 857. Jan is not here, Grub is not here, Jeff is not here, so they have made me the host. I am your host, Tom Hossein, joined by Sean.
I'm on the ones and twos entirely on my own for the first time on the Giant Bombcast. So this is either going to go really well or really, really poorly. Y'all will have to tell me afterwards.
I think it's going to be spectacular either way. Either a spectacular success or a spectacular failure.
Damn,
and you know
right.
what? Is that not the Giant Bomb way?
That's right.
What do you think is the Giant Bomb way, Nikki?
I think the Giant Bomb way is having everything pretty locked down as soon as 5 seconds after the stream starts, and then it all kind of falls apart later.
Yeah.
It has that potential, even though everything is perfect and great beforehand.
I feel like the amount of times I've been with Jan and he's been like, okay, everything is working perfect. And then the show starts and he's like, everything is broken. Everything is broken. I'm just like, what happened? We're also joined... That is producing. We're also joined by Mitch Minotti, a.k.a. Tolkoto, a.k.a. the human child. What's up,
Hey,
Mitch?
don't worry, everyone. I'm still here.
I get the feeling that you just never leave. You're just always in this Discord.
Just always in this channel, just sitting here waiting. Like,
just talk. Yeah, I hate to admit it. I hate to say this to you, Mike, but you are the Ralph Wiggum of Giant Bomb.
Really? I felt like it would give you great joy to say that to me.
It does bring me some joy.
I'm a baby bird. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm in danger.
I just imagine you when we leave the Discord, it's Ralph like sitting on the court curb, just like kicking his legs back and forward.
Yeah.
That's you waiting for the next time
I do kick my legs a lot still. It feels good to do that.
It's
anything
good
where
to do.
Yeah, anything where your feet are elevated a bit.
Yeah.
Like the ride Soren and Epcot, like anything like that.
Oh my God.
It feels good. Yeah.
What did you say? The right store?
I muttered it for a reason. I didn't want you to hear it.
I can't. I didn't hear it. Can you say it louder?
No,
There's nothing
it's
to
fine. Don't
hear.
worry about it.
What's the
Don't worry
matter?
about it.
Why aren't you saying it?
Nothing happened.
Because it's not important. Let's move on.
The people who needed to hear it heard it.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, everyone? He said a Disney thing, and then when I asked him to repeat it, he said it's not important.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
This is a great
This is
podcast,
your
dude.
king. This is your king. The man who, given an opportunity to talk about Disney, said it's not important. This is a fraud, is what that is.
Wow.
Just trying to, please our host today. I want Tam to be happy. Happy Tam, happy podcast doesn't rhyme, but I said it anyways.
Unbelievable. We're going to get to the news very shortly, but first I want to thank NZXT for sponsoring the podcast, or powering the podcast, sorry. Big shout out to the crew over there. Banging PC, still using that bad boy. Rules.
Yeah, it must be nice.
It must be nice.
It's actually okay. It's fine. It was a very There's a very reasonable opportunity for everyone who wants to get a high-end gaming device that we will discuss. But before we start discussing that, let's just get an update on where everyone's at. We're gonna start with Nikki. I mean, Nikki, what's going on? I haven't spoken to you in a little while.
I know.
What you been up to?
It's been too hot to live here.
Oh yeah.
It was 106 yesterday. It was 108 the day before that, and then it got to 110 on Saturday. So baking over here. Today it's cooled down, only gonna be 99 degrees. So that's gonna be good for us. But next week it's gonna be in the 70s. So things are gonna be clutch. Otherwise, I'm hanging out. I'm in the process. Does anyone... Here's actually what I'll use my time for. I need to get a storage solution for my office. Okay. The thing that I want, and I don't know what to type into the computer, so maybe y'all can help me. I want a wooden frame. What's got plastic bins or buckets that I can slide in and out, right?
Okay.
So I can put stuff inside of those buckets so that I can put it against the wall so that I can have like a bucket of cables and then a bucket of camera garbage and then a bucket of microphone garbage, right? You know what I'm saying? What do I
like?
What do I
vertical?
Have
Like
you asked
a dresser, or what do you?
Dresser shape, so wide, not tall, wide.
Have you asked ChatGPT?
No, I haven't asked Chad. I try
Isn't
not
that
to
what
talk
everyone
to that
does?
guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I try not to talk to that dude.
It's a new thing to do.
Queue storage and someone in chat saying that's good, but I want it to be open.
I feel like you the thing you want is an IKEA Kallax with like a
yes.
Then you go to the container store and then buy little containers and put
All right.
So
sick. Great.
The IKEA Kallax is pretty reliable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as reliable as any IKEA thing, which is looks great. And then 1 year in, it looks like it's been in fucking war somehow. And you're like, how did this get to this state? And so I feel like, but that seems like the best solution, especially since they're like Kallaxes are reasonably affordable as well. So you could probably buy like one or two and like either stack them or put them side by side. And
all right,
and
well, I'm buying one.
Yeah,
great.
Sweet.
We did it.
Thanks, I would before you buy that, I would check that you can definitely find.
I bought 30 of them already, Tim.
Hate to see that.
Actually, fuck the Kallax. Who just sent me the Trofast? This is actually exactly what I want. Who just put that in chat? You're a monarch. M1K3.
What are these words?
Legend.
Great job.
Fucking legend. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah, how long
isn't it weird when you have to listen to words that you don't understand?
It's really annoying. People
about things. Yeah, this is like normal real world people. When it's like fucking IKEA? Mickey's underpants are a reference to everyone else has to listen to that bullshit.
If you want to live in this IKEA world, go ahead. I'm going to be over in Animal Kingdom flying with a banshee.
Yeah, this IKEA world, Sweden.
The land of IKEA words. So I think the Kallax or the other one that you just got
listen, the Trofast. I can pick this shit up in Burbank.
The problem
today.
the problem with the Trofast looks like you'll have to buy a bunch of those things.
Well, I don't have that much stuff.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I'm trying to not have a bunch of stuff in my ownership anymore.
That's smart. I need to do that.
I respect that.
Like I think people own too much, and I think I own too much at this moment in time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I'm just operating basically my bedroom at this point. I'm just looking at a pile of crap over there where I'm like,
you don't need it.
I'm gonna be moving soon. What? I should just toss some of this shit out.
Just put it on the street.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's somebody else's problem.
Yeah,
I'm the same. I'm like I minimize these days. I'm just like. I don't want any of this nonsense. Nikki, are you downsizing because it's just like for your own? Is this an anti-capitalist stance, or is this just I need some lack of clutter in my life?
I need lack of clutter. I've moved into this place in April, like late April, early May, and now it's September.
Are you currently in your place?
Mm-hmm. But I'm in my office is not done. Like I finished my bedroom. And my living space is like perfect. It is exactly what I want it to be. And I ran out of juice. And my office has been kind of a clusterfuck since then.
Is this the office? Are you currently in
This is the office. This is like this I fucking hate. I don't.
Yeah, I was like, are you in an actual like,
wall?
That looks like you're in a real like office where someone has decorated.
Like a dentist office.
You're in one of those like cheaper cellular store companies or something like Mint Mobile.
Yeah, you're in a Mint Mobile. Yeah. For people who don't know or can't tell, it looks like there's some sort of like a group.
Okay, we're getting a tour now.
Yeah.
Oh, Barley's sleeping, and I'm not, and now I'm upset.
This is my pile of garbage.
Oh yeah, that will go really. That IKEA thing will go really nice.
Oh yeah.
Go right here.
Yeah.
I got a shelf for my cameras.
Oh,
that is awesome. That is r/shelf too high. What's going on there?
It's really high. I just need to look at these guys. None of them work.
What's the stick for?
I stole that from a Roto-Rooter truck in Rhode Island.
Okay. That doesn't explain anything, but okay.
Also, I'm not sure I would have stolen something off a Roto-Rooter truck, to be honest with you. Like,
I wanted it very badly.
Did you sanitize it by any chance? No response. All right.
Germs can't survive interstate moving.
Yeah,
that's right.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, they disintegrate across state lines.
I feel like Nikki, you should replace those with. Oh, whoa. Nicky leaned into the camera, put his hand on it, and now it's just weird.
Oh no!
It's like
Bars
the
and
end of day
tones that are-
broadcast lines.
Yeah.
It's like we're watching NBC in the 50s.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Damn it. Piss
I was gonna say, Nikki, we could get like those gamer light panels and put it on top of those weird little green caterpillar things, and turn the space into
It's
a gamer
broken.
space.
Oh, that's
Broken
good.
forever.
This
I
is
look
good.
like this now. That's
All
the
right, that's
podcast.
fine.
This
This is good
fantastic.
podcasting.
While
we saw
Nikki
everything we
figures that
needed
out, let's get our weekly catch-up update with Sean. Sean, what's going on?
Okay, so I have tried the Baja Blast Gelato. I was hyping this up.
Oh.
I got
What?
my hands on it. The Baja Blast Gelato, Tam. You can walk into a Taco Bell and you can get gelato that tastes like Baja Blast. And let me tell you, I had it the other night after
I
my
got
dinner.
it. Let's try it and rate it 1 to 10.
Yes, and you know what? Boy, that sure is just some frozen Baja Blast that I spent $4 for 3 ounces of because I'm an idiot.
What?
I
You
had
got
to
robbed,
try
bud.
it. It was for science. Also, I'm talking about on the podcast, so I can expense that, right?
You can
Well-
expense it now.
Yeah.
So, where did you acquire? You got this from Taco Bell?
Yeah, so it's this thing where you need to use the app. You walk in and they like hand it to you like specifically like
Like
you
an
need to
illicit
request
drug
it.
deal?
It's like an illicit drug deal. It was in a brown paper bag and everything. Like I was walking
Is it
over with
in
my little
a-
Baja Blast. Yeah,
Is it in a pre-made cup like
It is.
dog ice cream?
yeah, it's manufactured. Like
ice
Like
it's
so
like,
it's like dog ice.
Yeah, it's like
Frozen
dog ice
Baja Blast is the dog ice cream of gamers.
Look, someone had to try
That's
it. It
good.
seemed like Dan wasn't trying it because he's a fake Taco Bell fan. So I had to be the one to bite the bullet on that one.
Don't listen to that. I'm going to cover his ear on my shirt. There we go. Yeah. Oh, there's more. There we go. Okay, got him.
Somewhere Dan is like, this is why I end up at the fucking dentist every week because I keep getting goaded into eating like frozen Baja Blast and shit like that.
It was just like
Yeah, nacho
shaved
fries.
ice Baja Blast. It's not even like actually gelato. Is
Oh, really? Because shaved, I don't get it with shaved ice. I'll just admit it. Like, if I'm gonna like consume sugar and have some kind of treat, I don't want frozen water covered in sugar. I want like ice cream or a candy. Like shaved
But
ice is so incredibly mid. It
But I
melts
think
and it gets
the-
gross.
But it's because it's not filling. You do still need to. You are still getting hydration, which I know you're anti.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
You're
like
kind
to
of
look like the
fan of life.
crustiest fucking dude in Disneyland.
But like, but there is a hydration aspect to shaved ice.
Yeah, I guess that never even
leaves
occurred
from
to me. I
ice
have
cream.
to admit.
I don't know. I think I'm not sure if I agree. I might be on Mitch's side.
Go
'Cause
ahead,
I
say
had
it.
shaved ice for the first time recently.
Mhm.
Actually in Seattle while we were there
Mhm.
for PAX. And it was refreshing. I will say that. But it was also deeply disappointing.
yeah.
So, and also I like ate most of it, and then by the end of it, it's just like a pool of syrup, which I was like, I'm
Exactly.
not,
Well, that's because
Yeah,
you're
I'm not
eating it too
touching that.
slow.
I'm
So
not
gross
touching
in
Eat
the
it
end.
faster.
I,
Here's the
I,
thing:
I hate
You
when
gotta
that
get
stuff
on the-
pools.
you got to get on that hollow tilt, which is shaved ice,
that?
and it's also frozen. It's a Filipino dessert specialty, and it's
Mm.
shaved ice
Mm.
and also frozen like condensed milk.
Oh,
So you kind of are getting both of the things that you want. It's freaking
Oh.
delicious. Delightful.
what is it called?
Hollow.
Like HA.
Hello,
mix-
hello, at your boys.
Yeah, like Halo 2.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you know
this
what
is a
this
Microsoft
is?
product?
This is more in
Yeah.
line with the consistency of what I had. It's like it wasn't quite
Oh.
shaved ice. It was like shaved ice mixed with something else. Like I know it was supposed to be like ice
All right,
cream,
lads.
but like this looks kind of like what I had.
Are you ready to have your life changed for
Okay.
Yes.
something? Okay. Everyone type in Faluda, FALOODA, and hit
Yeah.
Google Images.
Now we're
Faluda.
fucking talking.
Bahama.
Hmm.
That looks
That is-
disgusting.
Come on, baby
That is
mama.
what you need in
What?
your life.
What looks
You
bad
cannot-
about this, Mike?
Oh, it's
Well,
got little
it's-
pastas in it.
It's milky. There's a lot of particulate going on. I don't think a drink should ever be more than
Dude,
one color. I'm just gonna
That
say
stuff. That stuff's
Wow.
got. That drink has noodles in it.
Yeah, it
That
has
drink has
noodles in it.
noodles in it.
it. Absolutely
That's awesome.
not.
Dude,
Absolutely not.
It's got like these seeds in there that are so nice. It's got
basil
vermicellis, rose
seeds?
syrup,
I can't even do
jelly,
boba.
ice
I'm not gonna do
cream,
seeds.
Dude,
Dude,
it is
tasty.
unbelievable.
I won't even do a root beer float. I do not want milky drinks at all. I don't want any kind of dairy product in my drink.
Hurt you, Mike? Why are you?
AW
Yeah.
apparently. I don't know. Ohio.
Y'all fuck with Lucy?
We'll say that again.
Come
The
again?
drink.
The James? Or...
The
It's like, no,
drink.
I don't mess with her at all. She can
No,
be
yeah, she scares me.
She will kick your ass.
Is it
Don't fuck with
Lassie?
her.
LASSI?
Oh, lassi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lassie.
Mango lassi is elite.
Yeah. Yeah, it's freaking great.
right in the mango lassi.
Yeah.
Mango lassi and Faluda are my two favorite drinks.
Delicious.
When I was in Pakistan, Faluda was the end of me.
Dude,
That
yeah, I would
was
fuck.
the
Is there a
only
place
thing
in
I
That's
ate.
good.
Is there a place in San Francisco that you can get
I don't know.
Fallujah?
Fallujah.
Come on, pretty
Faluda?
mama.
I don't actually. Let me have a look.
Fallujah's
I
from
don't
Star
think so.
Wars, isn't it?
I know it's from Earth.
Fallujah's
Yeah,
Fallujah
I see it
is
right here
Earth,
on
yeah.
Wikipedia. Like, is this
Isn't it
also somewhere
it was
I
like
should
a-
know?
It's a place in Iraq.
Okay, that
Yeah.
explains it. Yep.
Wait, they have Space Fallujah?
Oh, that. Like the game. That was very bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the 6
that
days
one.
that were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Days that were there.
Yes.
Yeah, the 1 week that happened.
Oh,
Yes, can
there
you
is
tell?
a place that does it in the Bay Area.
You gotta go. Gotta report back.
I got I might record a video of this because I
Hell
don't know
yeah.
if you know, but I bought these Rode Wireless Go 2 mics. And
Hell
I've done
yeah.
literally fucking nothing with them.
Well, now you
So-
now you've shown them on this, so you can expense them.
Hell yes.
That's how it works.
Oh, it looks like there's a few places that do Faluda, so I might do like a Faluda tour.
Faluda tour,
And,
hell yeah, dude.
I'm gonna become the Keith Lee of Faluda.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
aspirational. That's what you
Cannot
want.
wait.
Mikey,
but yeah,
what'd you eat?
yeah, I was
this
gonna say, what nonsense have you been consuming?
I had a DoorDash a lot because I had COVID, right? So
Yeah.
it was just kind of a lot of.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. It was kind of boring.
He messaged me on Discord saying
I did.
I got COVID. And I was like, if I get fucking killed by Mike Minotti,
That's what I thought. I was so like.
swear to God.
I was like, oh my God.
If that happens, like, if I ever get killed as a result of anything that Mitch has done, do not have a funeral. No one show up. Just act like I never existed at all. Okay.
You wouldn't want
It's
us
like
to
getting-
come up with a cooler way
Yeah.
to die. for
It's
you?
like it's like getting cooked by your like baby cousin at Street Fighter. You just act like it never happened.
I hated texting you had to do it, but I'm like, anybody I was in contact with, a bunch of them,
Yeah.
I'm like gonna talk to, but like,
Let me
Tim
read.
especially, I was
Let
like,
me read
please
the
no.
exact message. He
I
said,
I think I worded it so
said-
politely.
Hey Tam, just wanted to give you a heads up that I tested positive for COVID. Wahoo! That's fucked up, right? He added a wahoo at the end.
A little levity at the end.
Oh,
is
you
all.
actually did that? I thought he was making fun of you because that's an insane thing to do, Mike.
I don't remember the wahoo, but yeah, no, so
Listen,
little,
really
like,
I
funny.
might have embellished some things here and there. It doesn't really matter. Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure I've given COVID to 2 people during PAX. Is all.
Jesus.
One of them,
One of them
Grubs.
doesn't count.
One of them doesn't count. Yeah, so that from there, I'm kind of upset that it wasn't a super spreader event when Dan invited all these people to my hotel room to watch Noobs. Like they all deserved COVID, and only Grub got it.
The
But
truth come out.
yeah,
the
well,
truth
look, I
come
didn't want them
out.
there. So
Was that your first time?
no, Dan made me watch Noobs the week earlier.
I'm talking
in
about
London.
having COVID, not watching fucking noobs.
Okay, that was an insane assumption of my point. You're right. No, it's my second
He's
one.
like, yeah, I got a Paxlovid, then I watched the noobs. It's like, what are you talking about, man?
Good
No,
Lord.
this is just my second time. I got my first one. Not during the height of it. It was still like after probably getting vaxxed once. So it's never been that bad having it, honestly. But
Sean,
it's
have
just,
you had it?
Yeah,
yeah, Sean.
a long
And Tam,
time
you're
ago.
clean?
Tam's the
No,
champ,
dude,
I thought.
I've had it 5 times.
You're the 5-time
Yeah.
back-to-back COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one on here that is pure
Oh
and strong.
snap!
Well,
Yeah, because Grub didn't have it for a long time either, and then
Oh, I took care of that.
yep.
I think Nikki, you've never had it.
No.
Oh,
Wow.
you're the second person that I know is seems somehow like immortal or like has
Yeah.
the Ellie vibe. The Ellie.
I
gene.
wear masks places.
Yeah, that's smart. But I know, like our friend Andrew Goldfarb, he's basically like walked into the lion's den multiple times.
Oh, he's just
and
licking
come
stuff?
out, and he's like, I'm just like, what is your immune system? You need to be
Yeah.
studied.
I-
Like
The thing,
I'm like Joel carrying him out of a hospital. trying to be like-
Yeah, I was hanging out with Andrew too during PAX, and like I think Andrew survived me even, so it's just not gonna happen.
That's
I guess.
right.
Not only that, that dude
I-
hasn't been sick in like 5 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy. What a lad, powerful
It's-
human being.
I also think it's like there are so many other variables to getting or not getting the novel coronavirus.
Yeah.
That like
Is
it's
it
a
novel
fucking
still? I don't think
crapshoot.
it's novel.
I don't
anymore.
think it's novel
Not novelty
anymore, but I
anymore.
don't think there's
No.
been a sequel to it. So I do
Yeah.
think it is still the novel coronavirus.
It'll be the
Yeah.
Beetlejuice naming convention. It'll be novel coronavirus, novel coronavirus.
do all the other coronavirus variants count as like pro upgrades, or are they?
That's a
like,
great question.
They don't come with a
I-
stand. You have to pay extra.
I think it is closer to the iPhone numbered iPhone than it is to
Oh, okay, gotcha.
mid-cycle refresh.
Hmm.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. Either way, I don't think it's novel anymore. I feel like it's a fact of life. Sadly.
It's not, definitely not novel for you, who's had it 5
No.
times.
I've had it too many times.
It's the least novel thing imaginable.
Definitely. I think I might have had it a 6th time because I got
Wow.
really sick,
Jesus.
and then I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I just didn't have, and I think I don't. I tested, but when I tested, I was feeling much better. So it was
Mhm.
just like, hey. So I might be the 6th time champion.
Nice.
Who knows?
No. I
Get
think
those Ric
everyone
Flair
should
numbers.
go. If you have insurance, you should go. The new boosters are out. You can schedule them right now. You could honestly probably walk into your local drugstore
You can.
right now and go get it. So I think
I'm gonna-
everyone should go get the new COVID booster. Yes, Mike.
Do I need to do that anymore? Or do I like have?
Yeah, but you
immunity
have
now?
to wait. Nope, that's not how that works. But you do have to wait.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think a
thank you.
little bit. You know who you should ask? Your doctor father.
Okay, that'd be a good
Your
idea.
dad's a doctor?
You didn't know? Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
How disappointed in you is he? That
This
must
is-
be insane.
This is the first time you're finding out about this, damn.
I did
it's
not
a
know.
good-
I just don't
it
listen to
explains a lot,
anything
doesn't
Mike
it?
says.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fair.
It just-
But oh my god, this is why it's insane anytime Mike or Grub are sick, because I'm like, just call the man.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
don't
That
worry. He
is
takes care of me.
incredible. Can you text me your dad's phone number?
Absolutely.
Because
not.
from now on, I am not going to Kaiser. I'm just texting you, your dad, and being like, "This is your latest update on your son. Also, there's a weird fluid coming out my ass. What's going on?"
Oh, he hooked me up with some good pills when I had COVID. Don't
Hell
worry.
yeah,
I don't
dude.
even ask what they are anymore. I just go to the store, pick it, just start taking it.
Comes unmarked. A man shows up at your house with a Ziploc bag.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, here we go.
I have a question for Mitch.
Yes.
You are a noted Disneyland enjoyer.
Some say.
What's the situation with Disneyland and getting sick? Like, how are you? I assume that you're just there all the time, like some sort of like weird cartoon pervert. But
Yeah.
like, aren't you like catching that shit constantly? Aren't people always getting sick? Is Disneyland not just a super spreader event for man children?
You would think that, but I can't remember actually ever being too sick in Disney. Honestly, like sometimes it's nausea from doing rides, but like in terms of like actual like contagious diseases, I feel like I'm pretty good there. I think it's just something about the magic of Disney is kind of an immunizing effect. It's impossible. Germs just kind of dissipate into the air when you're
Yeah,
surrounded
checks
by
out.
happiness
Have
and
they?
smiling children.
have
It's also outside.
Oh yeah, true. Have they done anything like crazy capitalist and done like a Dr. Mickey version, something like that, where you walk around, it's like Mickey in a doctor's outfit, just being like, "Oh, put your mask on."
I mean, they did a lot of stuff with with COVID, they put like the little circle stand here, and you had to mask, and they put this, hand sanitizers every 2 feet and stuff like that. But no, Mickey didn't come up and accost you.
Breathe on your mouth.
That would have been.
God, that would have been so sick.
Mickey's trying to help people while Goofy.
Mickey.
Yeah, while Goofy or Donald is going around and breathing directly into people's mouths. And just being like,
Donald's anti-vax.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Of all the Disneyland characters, who would be anti-vax? Would it be Donald?
The dude who doesn't wear
Pete.
pants, yeah.
No, I don't think it's Pistol Pete. No, Pistol Pete is not. I feel like Pistol Pete is like, I need to be as healthy as possible so I can terrorize these other nerds.
Wait, Pistol Pete. I'm talking about
Pistol Pete.
Isn't Pistol Pete that dog?
Oh, no. That's Peg Leg Pete. Pistol Pete is somebody else.
Oh, Pistol Pete is American basketball player. Pistol Pete.
Pete Maravich. I was like,
well, man, you're really
I also think that
embarrassing
guy's
yourself.
dead, so he is anti.
Whoa, look at the porn stash on that dude. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm trying. It is nuts to me that there is not an advertisement where Mickey Mouse has the blue Band-Aid on his arm because he got the shot.
Oh.
Elmo took care of that for all the kids, right? I think Elmo was the official.
Elmo was
kid too.
I got vacuumed.
Is Elmo in the Disney?
No, but like just on behalf of all child appropriate characters, I think Elmo took one for the team on that one.
Because I like Elmo.
Elmo's dad was unsure about the vax.
Oh, right, but
in the lore.
Wait, really?
Yeah. But reasonable, in the commercial. Then it was like, don't worry, we're gonna talk to you about science, and you're gonna like that. And then because he's a fictional character, he did.
Who is Elmo's dad?
It's Elmo's dad.
It's just Elmo's dad.
It's just bigger Elmo.
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't look like Elmo at all.
father.
He has a completely different shaped nose.
Really?
Is Elmo's dad a doctor and disappointed in him as well?
No, Elmo's dad is just a regular guy who is skeptical about medicine, but wants to make sure his kid's not gonna die.
Yeah.
So he asked his doctor questions.
Elmo's dad looks like he has had his soul destroyed.
Yeah, dude, his
Holy
kid's
shit.
Elmo.
Oh my! Look at his face. He's got like the droopy eyelids. Oh my god! Poor Elmo's dad.
Is Elmo's mom dead?
Elmo's dad's called Louis.
Wow. I don't know why I find that funny. The Wikipedia picture of him in his little tracksuit is also funny.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Husband of May.
May is Elmo's mom. She appears to not be in the picture as much. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
honestly that explains the tracksuit.
Yeah.
Dark turn with Elmo's mom.
She was in May's. She was in a bunch of resource videos. Parentheses, unlike her husband, Elmo's dad is not providing any resources. She was eventually given a starting role as the host of May's Minute, a web video series where she shares parenting tips. She also appears as the grown-up correspondent of the Elmo's World news video.
That's pretty good.
We gotta get into this Elmo lore. Where's young Elmo?
Yeah.
How does he fit into all this?
What's
He's
everyone's
Elmo, but
favorite
younger.
Elmo's World clip? Mine is when Bert comes in and he's like, "Hey, it's legitimately a great clip."
Oh my god, what?
Bert comes in and he's like, "Hey, where am I?" And then Elmo's like, "This is Elmo's world." And then Bert looks at Elmo dead-eyed and is like, "How did I get in here?" And Elmo's like, "I don't know." And then Bert is like, "How do I leave?" And Elmo's like, "I don't know." And then Bert closes the door.
I did not watch Elmo's World. I was not familiar with it, so I hit Google Images.
Yeah.
There's pictures of this motherfucker's legs.
Oh yeah.
Elmo? Yeah.
It's always upsetting when you see the
what?
Muppets' legs.
When did they start showing legs?
It's for special occasions.
That's absolutely haram.
The one that upsets me is in the Muppet movie when you see Fozzie and Kermit on stage when they're doing the little like vaudeville act in that saloon or whatever. It's like, oh, it looks really weird seeing their legs.
Dude, I don't like seeing their legs. Elmo's legs are freaking me out here.
They show him
You know what this
Did
looks
you
like?
just think? Sorry, hold on. Did you just think that he didn't have legs?
No. I knew Elmo's had legs. I just never
Sure.
wanted to see them. Like
To see
it's
them,
like
I see.
yeah. I feel like you should only see the upper half of their body.
Well, they show him when he's like
like
tap dancing and stuff. I remember that.
Yeah.
But
I'm getting like an enhanced body dysmorphia from seeing Elmo's legs for some reason. He looks like a character from like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Have you seen Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared?
What's that?
unfortunately,
Yes.
So Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is a web series of like 8 episodes of like 3 or 4 minutes each, which is effectively Muppets, but really messed up. Like,
Okay.
and it's musicals.
Like Pan's Labyrinth stuff.
Every episode is a musical, but it's a series about like artistic
great.
integrity and capitalism, and it's just dressed up as a really unsettling children's puppet show. But it is phenomenal. You can watch it in one sitting and then like watch the breakdowns of it. It is a 10 out of 10 thing.
Am I the only one here who was A, old enough, and B, in the US to remember the Tickle Me Elmo craze of the 90s?
no, I remember.
I
that.
was alive for it, but it was not a going concern for me.
was
I don't think
very
I
much a
wanted a
going
Tickle
concern.
Me. I don't think I wanted or needed a Tickle Me Elmo. I was satisfied to have him on my television where I
I didn't
he
really
belonged.
want one, but like I was so mystified by it because like it's all the news talked about was this toy of Elmo, and it was like, man, I think if I saw this, I'd be more impressed than if I saw the Mona Lisa. That's how rare it was, like being deigned, like lines around Toys R Us and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, I can't imagine what was the last toy craze. Do we do that
I think
anymore?
what's the
Is it
last
the hoverboard?
Yeah,
I
but it's not the
don't-
same. I mean, there's like, you know, sometimes when the consoles come out and they're hard to find, there's that, and that's like as close as you
Wait,
get.
no, I don't think toys are like the last major craze that I saw. I guess it's not specifically targeted as kids, but in this generation, the kids are on it. Was the Stanley Cup thing, right?
Yeah,
But that was also
but
like
that's bigger.
even
I'm
adult.
like, I mean, for kids.
You mean like
It's a
Tamagotchi,
toy for
Tickle Me
child,
Elmo?
yes.
Yeah,
that
it's been
kind of
a
stuff.
really
Like
long
that
time
kind of
because nowadays kids don't really do toys anymore. They just sit there on like iPads and crap. You know,
That's the
like,
plot of Toy Story 5, by the way.
Of course, it is.
Really? Toy
Yes.
dead now only beep boop?
Yeah, I think the girl's like on her
Wait, the
iPad
new one?
instead. Yeah, the Toy Story 5. Yeah, she's
I
gonna
thought
be
that
like.
was the old one, or was that Andy just not giving a shit about his toys?
Oh yeah,
Andy
so
grew up,
Andy grew.
yes.
Andy just straight up grew up.
So they're doing that again, but for like everyone.
Yeah, well, it's probably now has been as long between now and Toy Story 3 as it was between Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 1. So sure, I guess.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Look, I'm anti Toy Story 5 also, to be clear. I don't think they should do it. But here
Yeah.
it comes. Look out.
Did y'all
I-
know that the person who voices Sid in Toy Story is also the main character in Brink, the DCOM?
Brink, the video
Brink,
game?
the video game?
Nope.
No,
the Disney Channel original movie. Brink.
movie called.
Oh, no, I did not know that.
That's wild. And
Crazy.
Eric Von Detten.
That's
You
a
know
good
what they
name.
should have made Toy Story 5 about? They should have made Toy Story 5 about the toys seeing themselves be recreated as digital things and having an existential
Oh.
crisis
Ah.
and being like, what the fuck is happening? And then the whole thing is like a battle for their souls. That
Yeah.
no one actually watches.
Woody should get turned into an NFT.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say.
Exactly. And
That's
there's a
it.
whole joke about them saying like, oh, there's only one of these, but then it's like, but I am here. I am
Yeah.
the second one.
I'm
weird
the
though, 'cause they-
second one.
They do that with Buzz in 2, right?
Well, he
Where
has an
there's-
existential crisis because he comes across
he
all the
realizes-
other Buzz Lightyear
Yeah, the other
toys.
Buzz Lightyears. But it's weird because the Barbies know
Yeah, the
that
Barbies
they're
are
toys
okay with it.
already. The Barbies
Yeah.
are okay, so I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, they did. I think Buzz Lightyear was an experiment where they tried to make the toys too self-aware, and it backfired horribly because all the other Buzz Lightyears also have that problem. They don't know that they're a toy for some reason. Every other toy understands. They're like, I'm from Mattel. I was made in a factory. And Buzz
Yeah.
Lightyear's like, I'm a real space ranger. That's crazy, isn't it?
You know what's
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what's
Like he really likes my synopsis of Toy Story.
That's true. That's exactly what happens in the film.
You know what's really disappointing and a shame?
Hmm.
That we didn't get another Small Soldiers.
Man,
Yeah.
you know
Is it? Is it though, Tam?
Yeah,
you know
I
what
think
my
so.
association with small
I would
Soldiers is?
sacrifice one Toy Story for another Small
Wow.
Soldiers.
Well, maybe
How
Toy
courageous
Story
of
4. But I remember the promotional campaign with Burger King because they introduced the rodeo burger during Small Soldiers.
Whoa.
It was a burger with onion rings and barbecue sauce.
Hell yeah.
I was like, "Oh, let's freaking go!"
On the
Bring
topic of Burger King, I think it's fucked up to put a burger on television that doesn't have cheese on it.
Yeah, I agree.
What
Well,
do you?
because you're
What does
not
that
Why-
mean?
intolerant.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Like whenever
Hamburger
the
should be
Whopper,
illegal.
I agree. Thank you so much, Mike. We're on the right side of history. I think if you're putting a burger on TV, it has to have cheese on it. And if you aren't going to put cheese on it, that's your own thing. Do it in the privacy of your own
Oh, you
home.
mean like
But, like,
hamburgers are bad?
Correct.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like
Yeah.
the Whopper is like you can't
the
show
Whopper-
the Whopper.
But the Whopper, I agree. You should not be able to show the Whopper on TV unless it has cheese on it.
That's just
Is
The-
the
like,
Whopper not
cheese
just
on
a
a burger-
hamburger?
Yes.
The Whopper
But no cheese.
standard has no cheese. You have to like
Oh, okay.
specify you want cheese. It's wild. It's insane.
Why would
Someone's got to
you
do
not?
something.
So doesn't the Whopper have multiple patties?
It's no, the
No.
base Whopper is just
Oh,
a
okay,
single
okay.
patty. It is the whole thing with the Whopper is just that it's supposed to be like big, or at least at the time.
right.
And then it's just like what ketchup, onion, whatever. It's
Ketchup,
fine.
mayo, lettuce,
Ketchup
tomato.
and mayo. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Not-
looking at it now, and it looks like they don't put cheese on it. I
It
feel like
looks
burgers, it looks wrong. It doesn't. It seems weird.
But I
that
think
it
of that
doesn't
like
have
when
a-
I think of I don't know, like a mid-tier restaurant burger. I think of one that does have like more of like lettuce and tomato and stuff like that, but not necessarily the cheese. So when I see a Whopper, I'm like, that looks like, I know the quality of the Whopper, but it looks to me more like your average burger.
Every burger needs cheese.
Yeah.
wait, what is the Burger King Spider-Man Whopper?
Oh, that was the Burger King Spider-Man Whopper. The buns were red, I think.
Dude, I am looking
and it
at
was
it,
functionally
and
the same.
There
And
is
it
a
turned your poop
cross.
black.
There's a picture which is a cross section of the burger, and the meat looks horrifying.
Yes.
Why is it gray?
That's Burger
Well,
King's thing.
that's
It's
just
like
what-
just
it always looks
weird
like that.
colors and
Yeah,
just like
you're not supposed to look at it.
they had like
That's
a
the
squid
flame
ink
broiled
burger.
kiss.
Yeah,
That's-
nah.
yeah.
Jesus.
Fresh off the grill.
Play the video game music, Sean.
I wish I could take us into video games, Stan. We gotta get out of this
Alright.
hellhole.
Let's go. Are we breaking for a?
No,
Screw it right
no,
into
we're not.
video games.
We're
I don't
just
think we have a
going- we're
ton
going
to
straight
talk
into-
about. So yeah, let's
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
straight into it.
We'll do a little break after this, but let's go into what we've been playing. I don't know what the current
it.
music
I'll put it
is.
in post. Don't worry.
That's sweet. What's everyone been playing? Let's
Astro-
start
Astro
with,
Bot.
Astro Bot.
we don't need to
Astrobot.
start with anyone. Okay, Astro Bot. Let's talk about Astro Bot, shall we?
Have you been playing Astro Bot, Tim? Because you haven't.
Oh
had a chance to
yeah,
talk
I
about it
finished it. I finished it.
Has everyone finished it on here?
yet.
So here's what I did.
have
I
not.
finished it. I played it for review. I didn't review it, but I
Okay.
play
Yeah.
everything that we review. I try to anyway, so that no weird shit happens with reviews. But I finished it pre-review, and then I decided I'm gonna not do any of the void levels that you discover, so I
Ah.
can take a little break and have a little
Alright.
Astro for later. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As a
So-
treat.
As a treat.
So I'm gonna play Space Marine and then go back to. I'm gonna finish Space Marine and then go back to Astro as a little treat. So yeah.
That's
Smart.
great. That's smart.
Yeah.
I rolled credits, so I won't give any spoilers, but I do think that the end of that game is unbelievably funny.
It's super
Like
good.
it's
Oh, yeah.
really good. For a thing that has zero narrative in it. They suddenly do decide to write like 8 minutes of narrative, and it does pay off really well.
Hmm.
I think it's really good. It's just a really good video game.
Yeah, I have a hard time really coming up with a complaint. I mean, basically, as soon as I played Astro's Playroom, which came with the PS5, like I was just like, just make a full one of these, just make a full one, and then they did, and it was amazing. It's everything that it needed to be. It just feels so good to play. It's such a delight and joy to go through. The levels are brilliant. The power-ups are amazing. Some of them you probably heard about now that are super good. The shrinking one, that maybe is the best level in the game. The one where you just turn into a sponge is incredibly neat. Like there are mechanics that other people would build entire games around, and they're here for like 2 levels, and then they're like, no, we're gonna move on to something else. The ending sequence was a ton of fun, and now I am kind of just going through 100%ing it, trying to clean up and get as many bots as I can. It's still having fun, like, oh wow, this guy's here. That's wild. That's neat. Going back to the hub world and hitting them, and they do something silly, right? It's just gosh, I just can't get enough of it. I can't wait for that patch where they add the speedrunning levels, and that's going to become my life for a while.
Are there any? Is Cloud in the game or no?
So I think there are no Square Enix characters, which is
crazy,
very interesting. It's very interesting.
I think that is a very likely addition via DLC.
Oh,
I mean, like, I think it's smarter to save like a Cloud for a marketing beat for the next Final Fantasy VII.
I didn't even think about that.
Maybe see, because I was wondering, like, are there bad feelings right now there? Because to me, I don't think either side is happy with how Final Fantasy games have been doing on there after they kind of went exclusive. And I don't know if they're like, this is your fault. No, this is your fault kind of a thing.
I feel like we're ascribing drama there that business does not give a shit about.
Yeah, keep in mind that Square Enix does tend to be just very stingy with their characters being guests. Sometimes, like, you really need to follow a sheet of guidelines and whatever. That's why, like, Cloud's appearance in Smash was a bit odd. Like, sure, it was cool that he was in there, multiple outfits, and a new stage, but, like, he had almost no music. Like, what was up with that?
No, he almost no music. Wouldn't bother doing the English voice actor, things like that. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just they're a bit odd about how they handle that stuff. So I think it's more along the lines of that, of just like they didn't want to do it, or maybe it's the exact opposite, and they do have, like, have them coming in expansion DLC.
I think it's probably both.
Yeah,
the main concern I imagine from Square, like, one of the things is probably stipulation is like, Cloud or whoever it is needs to be the star of the show. And the way you do that is by releasing the Final Fantasy VII pack, which technically makes him the star of the show, but in another game. So I feel like there's ways probably around it, and it's a little bit of both.
It's just a little, because like so much of it is like, oh, this is like all about PlayStation and kind of a celebration of it. And there are some third-party companies you can maybe exclude from that and kind of get away with it. Not having Square Enix there, it is like, oh, something's a little bit missing. Especially just how important that was, like PS1. Like, even outside of Final Fantasy, it's like, oh, there should be, maybe some fun deep cuts here. Let's get a Threads of Fate character, or Brave Fencer Musashi, or even Chrono Cross, something like that. So it's a little weird it didn't happen. I would be curious to know why, but maybe it is just like there's gonna be a whole Square Enix world, and you do play a Final Fantasy VII level after that, like some of these themed levels that we have in the game. Which, by the way, like, I still don't want to spoil what all those are, but those levels are
they're
really
so
neat.
Well done.
They're so good. Even when it's a franchise, you're like, oh, this one, then you play the level. I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah, they should make a whole game out of this. Horizon. There's also stuff mentioned in the credits. Like, Rayman is in the credits, but not in the video game. Did you notice that? Yes, they think in the list, because I watched the whole fucking credits, because now I'm at the point where I'm like, what are jobs that people have? So I'm like looking at job titles and doing research, but then they thank all of the titles that are in the game, and they're like, thank you to Ubisoft for the use of Rayman, but Rayman not in the game.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any other Ubisoft characters. Like,
no.
I don't remember seeing Ezio, which is, again, something you think. So, okay, weird.
Oh, yeah.
Rayman is something I associate with PlayStation 1, at least.
I Googled that, and everyone's saying DLC speculation based on the credits, so...
So does it specifically say... Does it say for the use of Rayman?
Yes. Like, Rayman, the word Rayman shows up in the credits.
Yeah, okay.
Rayman mentioned...
Rayman's alive.
I mean, just doing like DLC packs would be so sick to just like put them out for a little bit here and there.
I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I think she's going to write up an article around this idea, but like, I think it's very ironic that in its attempt to chase down a games as a service title and fuck it up with Concord and just have no one be interested in it. The best case for the best example of a games as a service title that Sony currently has is Astro Bot. Like that is the thing that you release DLC for. Like that is the thing that you can be like, hey, new planets, etc., and like that is the platform in which they could continue to have people come back and engage with in a meaningful way for months, definitely years. Like I feel like, and
some kind of a PlayStation Home, if you will.
Yeah, some sort of
Man,
some sort of little big planet for people.
Yeah, for PlayStation.
Everyone.
How was Sackboy not in there? Was Sackboy in there?
He's in there.
So Sackboy's in there. He was in a little bit of a strange world. I remember getting him. I almost kind of felt bad for him. It's like, this was supposed to be you, buddy.
Yeah.
Is he a costume or no?
I don't know if I got him as a costume.
I don't know if he's a costume.
How didn't they do the little? They should have done the Little Big Planet. Like that would have been
that's
really
right there,
good.
right?
That could have been
there. Yeah. So I really love the game. I don't think there's much wrong with it. There are a couple of things that I was like, I wish this was different a little bit. Which is one, and I realize why this is the case. But just for me, like I wish there was more to the enemies than them. Okay. I know that the enemies are like each individual enemy has a different way to approach it, but the vast majority of the ones that you encounter just run at you and can just be slapped away immediately with little to no. Like they don't even have like weird running patterns that can catch you off guard or anything like that. They're just very much like, and I get it. It's fine. It's that's not the meat and potatoes of the experience, and it's not designed to be like super challenging. But I guess for me, it's just like I got to the point where I was just ignoring enemies. I was like, I don't need to deal with you.
Yeah, you can just kind of run pat. If I killed them, it was mostly to hover through them so I can get some coins to help me buy more gotcha stuff in the world. Yeah, not a ton of enemy variety. That's something I haven't even really thought about until you said that. But there's a lot of like, one guy comes at you and does spikes. The people who shoot at you and like people who are electric.
Also, again, I think this game is phenomenal. The kind of enemies, the basic enemy is like reskinned for most of the worlds, which makes me feel a little like I wish they had more like unique enemies for each of the worlds, so that they visually, or like not visually, because they do have like a gold version, or this one's got like a weird different theme on it, like the actual like the silhouette of it and the way it behaved was a little bit different. But again, that's just like such a nitpick that it's not really all that important.
Yeah, like you go to like the bathhouse level and it's like, oh, these people kind of look more, I don't know, bathhousey, and I appreciate that. But everyone's, but like sometimes you do get a new enemy and it is really interesting. I wish there's more of it. Like there's like a time stop level where like a guy throws cards at you and you have to like pause the cards in mid-flight and you jump on. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Maybe if there's like a bit more of that thrown in there as well.
But also like it's just smart development, like and also like it's also kind of like a platformer trope where you have here's a Goomba, here's a robot Goomba, here's a
like Goomba with a spike on his head or something.
It is funny.
Goomba with a hat on his head.
Basically still Goombas that we fight in these games for the most part. Right?
Listen, Miyamoto got it right the first fucking time.
That does kind of play into like
he was looking at his junk and was like, "That's the one."
the like one real nitpick I had when we were doing the our little mini review on it was that it is just a bit on the easy side in terms of platforming, and that's something I realized more as the game was going on. Like, why do I find it easy? It's because it's a hide and seek game for the most part, and that's where the challenge comes from. Is can you figure out the like level-based puzzle, the situational puzzle of you need to look around this corner, you need to like search under here, you need to like even something like blowing away the leaves so that you find a place to like dig down with the spin move. That's where the challenge of the game comes from, and I just prefer a game that ramps up in difficulty of the platforming itself and fighting the enemies and stuff. But I think there's a place for both, and I'm glad that they went in this direction. I think it went really well for them, because if you're into that more collectathon-y kind of vibe, this does it really well.
There are those like little shape-based levels which are a little trickier, or I think they're actually
those are like the challenge levels, and those are
the challenge levels. That's when the other kind of like very minor gripe I had is some of those challenge levels, they aren't based on like I feel like there's a few of them where there's points where if you're doing it for the first time, you will 100% die because it will do something where it's like, oh, I had no idea that there was going to be a wall straight, as the camera flips over or something like that. And I found that kind of annoying because there were a few where it was like multiple of those where it's like, oh, I had no idea there would be a requirement for me to do this because you didn't telegraph it in any way that's like helpful for me.
The ramp up between the normal levels and the challenge levels, there is a big gap in difficulty there that is not like smoothed out at all. Even in Super Mario Wonder, is that the name of that game?
Yeah, yep, that's the name of that game. Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Brothers Wonder.
Right, yeah.
That's why. In that one, the secret stuff it still ramps up per world, right? Like you still have really easy ones, and then there's like medium difficulty ones, and then or at least that's what it feels like. I don't know, Sean. Is that?
It's not. It does a better job. It's that game is also laid out in a weird way where the easy, medium, and hard levels are like all scattered around. So it doesn't. That's another issue I had with Wonder is it didn't feel like a natural curve upward, and that's where like I feel classic video games, like say even way back in the day to like a Super Mario World, I think had a good natural increase in difficulty over time. Mario 3 and into the 3D era with like 64, it progressively got more challenging as the game went on. Now I think that I guess part of it is accessibility, but they are more focused on making sure that anyone can skip a part that they don't want to so that they can get to the rest. At the same time, like I think even kids, which is like, let's be real, a lot of the target demographic for this, it's older people like us who grew up playing platformers and loved them, and kids will figure it out is how I always think of it. Like I see my like younger family members, they figure these games out, they'll get there eventually. I mean, like, if they want to and you give them the time, they'll figure it out. So I think there's a middle ground that can be reached, and I think a lot of these games aren't quite there yet. But I'd just like to see more of an increase in difficulty in the game as a whole, rather than separating out really difficult levels from like this pretty easy early World 2 level that you're on.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I do like those challenge levels quite a lot. It's just they do have some frustrating design that feels.
You could just say it's horseshit.
But yeah, I was kind of surprised that maybe they will do this later on. Like they didn't add like a multiplayer option. Like I feel like it's just a matter of time before.
There's no multiplayer. We're gonna get the leaderboards in an update, which is that's like the thing I really care about, anyways. Because me and Jeff, and then I didn't know Dan at the time, but we were all doing those Astro Bot speedrun things like crazy then, and I'm still not sure if it's like we're just getting those challenge levels in speedrun form, or if it's like new levels meant for that. I'm not sure, so excited to see it.
Mike, I do often think of like the domino meme where it's like the small domino is Grub yelling at Dan over Astro speedruns, and then the big domino is me having a job in games media. Like sometimes that's funny to think about.
I do hope they introduce multiplayer to the game. I think it would be really cool to have that kind of. I realize that it can be tricky with the way the game is, or the actual like platforming is framed and such.
I think they
just select all of the Astro in the computer, and then Command C, and then Command V,
and then that's how it plays.
That's how development
and that's how you do it. So it shouldn't be that hard, I don't think.
I think
that's a sequel thing. That's Astro Bots, right?
Oh, alien situation.
I think if they change the camera angle, though, like that would go a long way, because it does feel a lot to me like there is elements of Super Mario 3D World in here. So I think if you did like zoom out the camera a little bit to have that more isometric view, like say the Sackboy game did, I think you can just do that for multiplayer.
I think it would be tricky for some of the current levels, just because the parts of it need to be framed in a very specific way for it to have that like cinematic kind of almost, set piece moments. So I guess if they could figure out a way of like shifting the camera around so it, gives both players that experience, that could work. But I wouldn't be surprised if they like introduce multiplayer with their own set of levels, and I like the the multiplayer levels that you
with the cookies and cream special world.
Yeah, what?
what everybody wants.
FromSoftware game for PS2.
No one,
you
no
love
one wants
FromSoft, Tam. Come on.
Yeah, I'm not delusional though, so
I am.
That's your mistake.
Oh,
we all
boy,
are
am I.
around here.
Yeah. So Astro Bot, good game.
Great.
Play it.
Probably the best. Some might say. I really like it.
Yeah, some might say
really
it
like
is the best. Mike and Sean, you've been playing Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, right?
It's Marvel, baby.
Yeah,
it is Marvel. West Coast, Philly, where you at?
I haven't actually gotten to play a ton because online's kind of difficult to do with this pre-release stuff, and I couldn't have people over because of COVID. So playing just arcade mode isn't always the most exciting thing in the world. But even then, I've mostly just been spending time Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is just one of my favorite fighting games ever, and it is still just so much fun. That game is just such a hyper visual stimulation.
Yes.
Right? And just all these teams you can make. Like I decided I'm going to do a team of nothing but women in hats. So that's my team. Yes. It's Ruby Hart, Cammy, and Jill Valentine.
Yeah, the berets and the
That's my team, and I'm like, I'm gonna get real good with this team. And just going through, because I had a team I played this game most of the time. It was Captain America, Ryu, because I was a basic normie, and the guy from the BattleBots game, Jin. So it even's like, I'm going to really change things up by going about it with completely different characters. Because that was the big appeal of this game when I was a kid. There was just so many characters.
Right.
More characters than I could have ever thought possible.
Marvel 2 is basically an asset dump. They just took everything that they had made before, put it into one game, added a few original characters to tie it all together. And that was a big criticism of it back in the day, was that it wasn't super original. It's a lot of stuff that you had already seen in other games just all put into this one. But looking back on it now, it is cool to just have this game with, I forget the exact count, but 55 characters or whatever the final roster is.
55,
it's awesome.
56. And gosh, back when I had the Dreamcast, you had to unlock half of them. Now they're just all here. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nikki, I saw in chat. Femme Fatale, not Femme Fatale, Femme Fatale.
Yeah,
I get it.
Good.
That's very good,
good.
Nikki. Thank you.
Yeah, so
I don't know, Sean, what have you been kind of messing around with in there?
So with Marvel 2, first of all, my Marvel 2 team is just some combination of Cyclops, Venom, Iron Man, Ryu, and Felicia, just whoever I'm feeling that day. Because I don't.
Can you do the Iron Man Infinite? I haven't tried it yet.
Not consistently, but I did get in a match the other night with my friend because I had a buddy over to help me test everything out to because these games are meant to be played with a friend. Sure, it is fun to do just an arcade run with your favorite team, your favorite character or whatever, but really sitting down with your buddy or going online with your buddy is the way to go. And so we were just sitting there. I did get in a match because I practiced it one time. I'm like, how hard is this? It's actually pretty easy once you know how to do it. But it felt good. I'm playing on PC, so we already would have advantage with input delay and everything. And people are worried about that because it is emulation. But people who got some hands on at Evo and stuff said, from what we tried and what we felt, it felt good. It felt noticeably less laggy than other emulation efforts in recent times. So I think This is it. This is what people have been looking for. What's up, Nikki?
Yep.
Is it a viable strategy to have 3 of the same guy?
No.
You can't do that.
You can't. Huh?
No, you usually can't do that.
Unless you do 3 characters that are basically the same in different outfits. Some Venom, Spider-Man.
What did you want 3 of, Nikki?
3 Spider-Mans is fun.
There are 2 Wolverines that are practically the same. You can play as Bone Claw or Adamantium Claw Wolverine.
They basically just have different properties. You can also do similar stuff in Marvel 3, where Virgil and Dante, very different special moves, but broadly speaking, similar play style.
The same guy.
Yeah.
Mike, can you do the Iron Man Infinite?
No, I haven't tried yet. I'm not cool enough.
Go to YouTube and type in Iron Man Infinite Tutorial MVC2.
Make sure you do that on stream, on full blast.
And, make sure you look for the video by DJ Champlu132. Crank that up. Make sure everyone around you can hear it. Because that is the video that will teach you how to do.
Wait, has Mike never actually watched the video? This look on his face right now. I feel like he doesn't know.
Yeah. I can't see Mike, so I don't know what you guys are looking at. So
now, this is a strange video.
His
That's
camera
got
is off.
1.3 million views. That's wild.
This
Dude,
is a-
light punch, heavy punch.
Light kick. That's a great video. But yeah, no,
I'm
the
excited to
game,
play more.
the game rules. Yeah, I haven't talked about it much in passing because I am still kind of waiting for the online to go live with everyone playing.
Yeah,
and so that
same.
way we can really get a test of the netcode in all these games, like Marvel 2 with rollback, and you don't have to do any emulation funkiness. That's going to be really appealing to a lot of people. So I want to see what that's like. And
we got to all play. And I want to play some,
Yeah.
you know, I've only really done MVC2, but I want to play some X-Men versus Street Fighter,
Yeah.
Children of the Atom, some Punisher. Come on.
yeah, we
Yeah,
could like.
did anyone play the Punisher game?
Not yet.
Not yet,
And I'm excited
no.
for it, though, because
Yeah,
I like
'cause-
beat 'em ups.
That's like, yeah, that's one thing in there for you if you are more of a solo player, is just putting in the Punisher beat 'em up game, which is like
Yeah.
a neat addition that they didn't have to do, but they just decided to because they were
Yeah.
like, well, it's one of the remaining Marvel games that we did, so why not put it
Yeah.
in there, you know?
Isn't it weird that they did a Punisher beat 'em up like before any of these fighting games, and Punisher has never been in one of the fighting games? Ever?
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
True.
like, Punisher is so violent that, like, I guess it
Yeah, he
makes
would look
sense.
like
Shoots people.
he would be out of place in that. Speaking of
It'd be
Punisher,
great, though.
congratulations to John Bernthal for his first ever Emmy.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, for The Bear, I guess. I don't
Sure.
know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, chef.
Good for him.
One last thing I'll say is that the I do like looking through the museum aspect in all these games, seeing all the art that they scanned in, and
Yes.
which I love that. Like, we kind of already knew because of some posting on Twitter that Nakayama-san does, but Matsumoto-san at Evo confirmed to me that yeah, there is like a Capcom archive that they just have all this
yeah.
stuff, all these like,
Wow.
you know, animation cells of animations, any like marquee stuff. They have a lot of these source assets, and that is the stuff that they scan in for these museum modes
huge.
in the game.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I love, you know, you're playing the game and you pause and you're like, wait, how does this game work? There's a marquee option, which, you know, maybe if you're younger and you don't know arcades as well, like on arcade machines, they would usually have just the controls, you know, printed on the machine, and that's and you know, like a banner up top and stuff. We call those the marquees, and you can just look at the scan of the marquee to like see, and you know, just very 90s, very like dripping in style. It's really cool to just see all that while you're playing, and just it gives you just a little bit more of the feeling that you're playing that classic game, you know. It's really cool.
Yeah, man. That Bengus artwork. Can't beat
So
it.
good. I saw
So
that they're
good.
even using some of that MVC2 character key art in like actual Marvel comics for coming
That's
months.
so
Oh, that's
cool.
very
It-
clever.
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
just-
like they have high-res scans of it now, right? So,
Yeah.
That is
just print
damn.
it.
What are
And
they
so
doing
just-
that in?
Cool.
It's the relevant comics, you know, like Venom will be on the new Venom comic coming out in like November or whatever.
Oh
like, they're
my
doing that.
God.
I might buy a comic for the first
Oh
time.
no!
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I
Last time
love
this happened,
collecting
I had to.
comics, So
I bought they did the hip hop cover crossover where it's like, you know, Miles Morales on the Nas Illmatic album.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to do a limited run of these, like a selection. And I bought every single one, and then they just kept fucking going. And it reached a
Yeah.
point where I was like, that's enough. I'm not
Problem.
doing it anymore.
No problem.
and I bet this is going to happen again. Oh my God. When they're on sale?
I don't know. I
it
don't
might
know.
start
I'll
like
have to keep an eye
very
out.
soon here. I actually don't know.
Because
but, it,
like
runs
every
through
single
December.
one of these is bangers. I am
look- it looks so
1
good.
million % buying every
Yeah,
single one of
it's
these.
just the key art from Marvel 2 in high resolution on a comic. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's incredible how much Marvel versus Capcom has kind of influenced what I think about with Marvel almost more than like these are my default like cloud thoughts for most of these characters a lot of time. Like you say Spider-Man, the first thing I think of is maybe the sprite. from
yeah,
Marvel
Infinite
versus
Spider.
Capcom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Infinite
Yeah.
like, Spiders,
Or
web throw,
yeah.
maximum
launch.
Maximum
spider.
Spider. Maximum Spider. That's what it is.
Maximum spider,
Yeah.
yeah.
One for
Berserker
JJ.
Barrage.
One for
Oh,
JJ.
I think that's one of the best win quotes ever. One for JJ. God,
Yeah, I still
the
have.
barks are so good in these games. It's my Sunday best.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's my Sunday best.
That's
Yeah.
what I loved about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I feel like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, when it comes to like pure fan service, is the best game ever made.
They
Where any,
understood
like,
the assignment, yeah.
They did it, yeah. And that was like when I reviewed Infinite, I was like, the game is enjoyable and it's interesting from a mechanical perspective. They just don't have any of the Riz, like the Marvel Riz that MVC3 had.
Marvel
completely Riz.
Marvel Infinite, I'll die on this hill, is the best playing Marvel versus Capcom game, but it has no soul whatsoever.
It's so. Have you seen that person that's doing like a
Maximilian
updates?
dude?
Yeah,
Max is
dude
doing
funded
it.
it. Funded it, right?
Yeah, I follow some of the
cannot wait
devs
for
too,
that.
seeing some of those things that they're doing. Which, if anyone doesn't know, Marvel versus Capcom, Infinite and Beyond. Don't know about that name, Max. But they are completely overhauling the visuals of the game to look like a comic book. Like it's cel shaded, like an Arc System Works game. It's just
it has new characters.
There is some balance stuff and whatnot.
So they're doing two versions of that. It's one side of it is going to be just a visual overhaul. And then the other side is where they're adding in some balancing changes, maybe in the long term, some new characters and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Bring the X-Men back. That was the weirdest thing, was how that game had no X-Men, because that was when they were like really in a spatty, bitchy mood about the X-Men not being in the MCU. So it's like, you can't put X-Men in the game. Like, do you know how this series started with X-Men? It's a little weird.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that. Is it Community Edition?
It's just it's Marvel's Capcom Infinite and Beyond.
Infinite and Beyond.
Oh, okay. Infinite and Beyond.
I think they were doing like sort of a Buzz Lightyear thing because Disney, maybe.
It all comes back around.
Full circle on this podcast.
Which, by the way, I tweeted this earlier. I want Scrooge McDuck and Marvel's Capcom 4, and it's not as crazy as it sounds.
Oh, so there's
that would be sick.
I just completely ignored what you said there.
I agree with you, Mike.
Thank you.
I think there's like two versions of it, because the one that I was looking at was Marvel vs. Capcom, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Community Edition.
For 3, yeah. 3
for
has
3,
one.
for 3 is different. Because they've done things like done things like add Gambit to 3, right? Like fans have done that and whatnot.
There's so many custom characters in 3. That's for years now. People have been adding it ever since they figured out how to get into the code, because that's an MT framework game. Figuring out how to like add characters to that roster and stuff. Once that dam broke, just all the custom characters, and that's insane, because something they'll do is because they haven't figured out how to add new animations, because, that's the development thing. You need to, like, find space in the game's code for these animations. Mm-hmm. They string together, down to the frame level, animations of other characters, like all that data, and they string it together to give characters new moves in that, Marvel 3 mod. It's crazy.
Like, I'm watching the Thing fight Cyclops here, and it's just... It just did a Dormammu move, but it still doesn't look weird. It looks legit. Yeah. Like, if you didn't know that the Thing isn't in this game originally, you'd just be like, yeah, it's the Thing fighting Reed Richards.
The Thing's never been in any of them. I always wanted the Thing. I thought it'd be fun. I like the Thing more than the Hulk. There, I said it.
Wow, truth come out.
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis fan. Anything else you guys been playing? You folks been playing?
Just want to talk about the Dreamcast briefly, because the 25th anniversary of the US launch, $99.99 was yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Yay. So I plugged my very yellow to Dreamcast back in, got some of my games together, and was just kind of doing a smorgasbord of some Dreamcast stuff. And that system is still just such a fun time. Soul Calibur 1, one of the best launch games ever. It's just so buttery smooth still. Feels so fantastic to play. I was just like jumping all. I played a little bit of NFL 2K1. I'm not really a big like sports game guy, but that's still just so fun. And
2K was still pretty arcadey back then,
right? Like, it's not blitz arcadey, but it's pretty pick up and play. Like, I was understanding what was good. It basically has anything I could possibly need in a football game. I can't imagine making it more complex than that would make it better, at least for me.
Yeah, Speaking of Blitz, that's what I did for the celebration last night with some friends. We hopped on Parsec and played some NFL Blitz, the Dreamcast version. It was great.
There you go. Yeah. Got some Power Stone 2, which still mine. Which I'm excited for the next Capcom fighting game collection. So I'm gonna have Power Stone 2 netcode, which is gonna be a wild thing.
That's so.
Have you played that game? Is in competitive play is such a fun fucking nice. It's the Mario Party of fighting. It's so fun, man.
Because Power Stone 1 was like more of a traditional fighting game, and Power Stone 2 they were like, just throw everything out the window.
What if you're running away from boulders the entire time while trying to hit each other?
Power Stone 2 is like more of a quote unquote party game than even like casual Smash is. It's wild, and I love it. It's so much fun.
Every time I think of, in the same way that One for JJ comes up to my head when I think of Spider-Man, whenever I think of Power Stone, I think of the announcer going, "Oh no!" When, the gems come out of you.
Powerful.
I was hearing that a lot.
Yeah, so good. So good.
I even played some Quake 3. Remember the Dreamcast port of Quake 3? It's not
the best way to play it, I'm sure.
Damn.
It's not bad. You use the face buttons for strafing, and you look around with the left stick. And I was just playing against bots because the whole point of it back in the day was that the Dreamcast had online play, which was novel at the time.
Crossplay, no less.
Yeah,
it was crossplay with the PC version.
Yeah, but even so, like just playing against bots, I'm like, this is surprisingly fun still. But Choo Choo Rocket, I was just jumping around all over the place. It's still just such a fun system with so many neat little pick up and play things here, along with deeper things. I actually still have my Soul Reaver on Dreamcast.
Hell yeah, brother!
Yeah, so I mean to finally play through it. I might do that. Also,
maybe you just wait for the re-release HD re-release.
Yeah, I know. I also went to my retro store to see if there's anything fun I can get to commemorate the day, and they had Dino Crisis.
Whoa!
So there's another PlayStation 1 port.
How do you make a video game called Dino Crisis and not put dinosaur on the front of the fucking game?
Because we have this hot redhead.
Yeah, hot lady instead, Nicky. Are you new?
You're kind of right.
Like in this day, like back then, people thought like red-headed ladies would be the hottest thing a dude has ever seen.
Right.
In this day and age, if you swap that around, because this day and age, the hottest thing people are getting turned on by dinosaurs.
The dinosaur.
So they'll be like,
how many scales can we ray trace? That's what gets the gamers hard nowadays.
Do you guys want to take it to the edge, to the Capcom edge with me?
Oh, yes.
You want a Capcom edge with me?
I would love to.
We're all going to Capcom edge.
I don't think I've ever played a video game on a Dreamcast before.
Oh no, you're missing out. I loved my Dreamcast, obviously.
Except for the controller cable coming out from the bottom. One of the most insane.
The controller in general is just not good.
Insane behavior.
You got the little clip right here. It's fine. See, not a problem anymore.
Crazy.
Presumably.
Even with the clip, I used to be playing the video games and I'd just be thinking about how bent the cable is the entire time.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, I fucking hate this.
It's like they wanted the VMU, but they couldn't figure out how to get the circuitry up on top as well. So they were just like, just loop it around, whatever.
Yeah, fuck it. Put it at the bottom.
Yeah. Third-party controllers fix that nowadays, but I definitely, when I was a kid, I had the proper Dreamcast experience. I went over to my buddy's house. I was like, oh my God, you have one of those things. We went to the used game store, bought a bunch of accessories for like pennies on the dollar, and then went back to his place, brought out this big old stack of CDRs and went wild, just burning stuff to that and playing.
It's very easy.
Marvel 2, that bad port of Third Strike, Power Stone, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, all those games. That was just
hell yeah.
That was a huge part of, like, for us, that was like high school when we sort of like rediscovered the Dreamcast a little bit, because it had been like a decade at that point at least, and just pulling this thing out of his old trunk or whatever it was, like we were just rummaging around looking for something to play. I'm like, oh, you have a Dreamcast? Like, oh dude, let me show you what we can do with this. And it became our like party machine for most of high school when we weren't playing Smash or Mario Kart, because all those arcade conversions of stuff we mentioned, NFL Blitz and Power Stone and all the different fighting games, is just so much fun to play with your friends.
What a time. What a great time it was.
What a great time it was.
Shut up. I have been playing a game as well that I'll talk very briefly about, because I am in this game.
Right.
So take everything I say with the appropriate amount of shilling defensive measures. But it's a game called Elsie. It's being published by Playtonic and developed by Night Shift Games. And yes, I'm in the game. See if you can find me. I did not realize how prominent my character was, but I started playing it, and the character is right there immediately and is the biggest character in the fucking game. Like size wise, it's like huge. I was like, Jesus. But yeah, Elsie is a kind of like this. It's like this super Mega Man-y inspired roguelike action platformer. And it's got like procedurally generated levels. But is one of those games that feels very classically like action platformy, where it's very hyperkinetic and it way too many things are coming at you on the screen. You're trying to like jump in between them, and you don't know what power up you're gonna have when you enter a room next and that kind of stuff. But it's a lot of fun. I found it to be a lot of fun. It's an indie game, so like it has those sensibilities. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Celeste and that kind of vibe. And I've been playing it for a little bit every night before bed, just doing a few runs here and there, and it's a good time, man. Yeah, I think I'm gonna play a bit more of it. I don't know if I'll finish it. It feels like at a certain point I'm just gonna be like, okay, I've had my fill of this, but I know that there are gonna be people who it feels like it's built for speed running as well in a lot of ways. But yeah, very like not short and sweet, but like simple but fun, elegant, classically styled action platformer. So it came out today. They sent me a code because I'm in the game, so they're like, hey, what do you think? But yeah, if you have any interest in that kind of like fun classic platform, Mega Man-esque platformer with some roguelike hooks in it, give it a look.
Nice.
Man.
Yeah.
Is this the one that is this the one that Lucy's in as well?
Lucy's also in it. She's one of the bosses. Yeah. See if you can find us. If you find us, like, tweet us, let us know. Let me know what you think of the performances, because Lucy killed it. Like, I was watching her
good in
like
those clips
recording
I saw,
session.
yeah.
She sounded. She's really good at it. She got some anger out in that booth. There was definitely some fire in that booth.
Is she pivoting to
maybe
voice acting?
Dark Lucy era.
I mean, I had like I was the UK equivalent of a theater kid coming up, which might surprise some people. So like,
nope, not even a little bit. Not a single bit is that surprising to me.
I was like originally gonna go into like trying to act and stuff like that, but then my mom was like, "Are you fucking serious? You're gonna be a lawyer?" And I was like, "Okay, great."
Okay, and
so
then
my mom is like quadruple disappointed in me.
Okay. So she understands how my dad feels. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Your mom and my dad will be able to commiserate together. But then like when I started doing what I did, like I kind of like put a lot of that kind of those kind of skills or like abilities away, and then like coming back and doing this, getting in a booth, I was like, oh shit, I used to do this for fun all the time.
And
I was like, there was a moment where I did it and I was like, what if I did more of that? It felt so good.
Sure, right?
It felt like natural again. It felt like it was like remembering what you loved as a child. I'd be like, what if I did more of this?
Oh, it was your Ratatouille moment.
Yeah, that was it. That was
keying back in, I think, to like past versions of self is like so important. I really don't think that people do it enough.
Yeah, it is one of those. Yeah.
I think it's really important. Folks should do it more.
This looks super up my alley. I'm a big Mega Man guy, so yeah, colorful retro action platformer with my best friend Tam voicing a character. How can I not?
How can you not?
Elsie, Elsie.
Yes.
I did.
Again, I am in the game, so all disclosures, that kind of stuff, and yeah, what are you gonna say, Sean?
I played when they did like a Next Fest demo or something a while back, and I oftentimes like the roguelike elements of games like these are a bit of a turn off for me, just because I'm not a huge fan of roguelikes. I think when they're done really well, like a Hades, like that's something I can get more into. But even just playing this, I was like, oh, it feels good to play and everything. So maybe this will be one of those where it's a bit of an exception to the rule for me. And I'm looking forward to checking this one out.
Yeah, if you see me, let me know what you think of the voices, and maybe I'll try and do some more. If you're out there and you need voices done, let me know. I'll relive my childhood dreams for a little bit.
Hell yeah.
We're gonna head over to the news. A lot of stuff been happening, but before we do that, we're gonna take a quick, as Jan would say, bricky break, and then come back soon, and you're gonna hear a couple of words from our sponsors. We are back from the bricky break, and you know what that means. It's time for some hot video game news. We've got a lot to get through, so we're going to kick it over to Mitch Minotti, who's going to lead us through the news. Take it away.
Look at me. I'm the Jeff Grubb now. Hey, PlayStation 5 Pro, that's real. It's launching on November 7th for $700. It will not include a disc drive. Later, you'll be able to buy one separately. It's also not even coming with that vertical stand. By the way, Sony says we developed PS5 Pro with deeply engaged players and game creators in mind, as many have asked for a console that runs even higher fidelity graphics with smoother frame rates at 60 FPS. There's kind of three key features they're talking about here: an upgraded GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling. There's kind of a lot here, but that price, I think, is sticking out more than anything else. How are we feeling about a $700 video game console that doesn't include a disc drive?
This is for nobody. And I mean it as sincerely as I do when I say it.
I want Nikki a cook here, because I have a lot to say that I've said before, but yeah, go.
If you look at the ways, and even if you don't have like a super solid understanding, just think about your own living room, right? Your TV is probably too small, is how you feel about it. And you also probably are sitting too far away from it, right? So if all of the stuff that they talked about in this video is literally shit on the periphery, right? They zoomed in on crowd little guys in Ratchet and Clank being higher fidelity. They zoomed in on leaves on trees being a little bit nicer. The frame rate in fidelity is at 60 frames a second. But Mark Cerny, right before he said that, was like 3/4 of the people who are playing video games on this box right now are already playing it in performance mode. So it's already at 60 frames a second. These games are not going to look $700 better than they do right now. You do not need to go buy one of these at all. No one asked for this. This is a product for nobody.
Yeah, I mean, it's always gonna be as a not even a half step, but like a small step forward. By its very nature, it's never going to be meaningfully different from the previous piece of hardware, because those are reserved for actual numbered new consoles or like generational leaps, which happen far more rarely. Even with that in mind, it's very difficult to see the value proposition of a PlayStation 5 Pro if you have a PlayStation 5 already. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't have a PlayStation 5, I feel like you're probably more likely to buy a Pro, but the disparity in price is probably going to push you to buy a PlayStation 5
regular
over
PlayStation
a Pro.
5.
And yeah. I don't think that is something that I don't believe that Sony isn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Not always is a piece of hardware like this designed to be a kind of a transition for everyone. It's usually designed, in this case especially, for a certain selection or section of the gaming audience and non-gaming audience that have the disposable income and the kind of personality and interest in having the optimum stuff. For those people, the whales, as we'll call them, they'll probably do what they need to. They probably did the maths, they did the calculations, and were like, this is what we'll probably get revenue-wise from a limited selection of audience. I think what is more likely and what usually happens is the release of a new console or new piece of hardware, even when it's expensive, has an overall rejuvenating effect on the interest of that entire platform. So the intent isn't to sell millions and millions of PlayStation 5 Pros. The intent is to have a PlayStation 5 Pro on the market so people reconsider whether they need a PlayStation 5 now. And a significant portion of them probably will say yes because there's a GTA coming out, and they will likely buy a PlayStation 5. Probably the standard or the slim more than the Pro, but that does the trick. and so they get their money. They get an increase in sales of the other versions of the PlayStation, which ordinarily would be done through dropping the price as well. I don't think Sony's in the market to do that. I think they're more likely to do bundles, but it will also get them a bigger cash flow, or like a bigger injection of cash from the whales. And I imagine this console is engineered so that the margins are still good for them, where they're not spending a crazy amount of extra money getting components that are so hard to find. The manufacturing costs of this are probably not much higher than the current PlayStation 5 cost to make.
For sure.
Yeah, and that seems like it's borne out in what that thing can do. So they're probably not losing money on making a new powerful console being there. So I feel like they've got enough to gain that. It doesn't make sense to us. We probably don't want it. But from a business perspective, it's going to pay off.
Yeah, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, these are just the natural year-over-year performance gains that these... Right, like
so.
Like,
this is interesting.
Assuming nobody ever touched any of this stuff, these performance gains would have come if the PlayStation 5 came out this year instead of coming out in 2020.
Right, I see what you're
it would have looked like this, right?
Okay, so yeah, this is my time to shine as the tech guy on this episode. Let me break some of this down for you. So what we're seeing here is that they sort of just added to the components on the PS5 that they could add to. CPU is not something you can easily beef up without breaking compatibility. You would need to plan ahead with that. It's why even like the Xbox One X last generation didn't have a huge boost in CPU. It did, but that's also tying into Microsoft's, very much focusing on backwards compatibility thing. The way these machines are made is that the compatibility is baked into the chip itself. PlayStation works with AMD to make sure that the compatibility is there. So they couldn't have a huge boost in CPU. So they needed to figure out other ways to accomplish their goals. And so they beefed up the GPU because that's something that's a little more agnostic. You can beef that up a little more independently. And then they're relying on PSSR, PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, which is their version of NVIDIA's DLSS, AMD's FSR, all these upscaling methods that you find on PC. This is PlayStation's version of that. And so they're relying on that too. And this is something that drove me nuts about the presentation. Because like Mark Cerny is a very, very smart man, an incredibly intelligent guy. And so seeing him kind of do a lot of marketing speak kind of drove me up the wall a little bit. Because when he was like, the way the presentation was framed basically was you will get fidelity stuff at higher frame rates. That is not what's happening here. And, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but this system basically is what we've known it to be from all the leaks, especially because this was in their developer portal for the past few months. Like, we've just known what this is. And so, sites like Digital Foundry and then like amateur stuff like me and Jeff talking about this on Game Us Mornings, we've been able to break this down and figure this stuff out. And we can tell it's going to be performance mode running at higher fidelity rather than fidelity mode running at better frame rates. And that's an important distinction because they are taking that lower quality base image and then upscaling that to the 4K canvas of your TV to make it look better, which has a whole bunch of like really just a few minor issues with that, because if you have a higher base canvas to work with and they bump up the frame rate, that's what you do when you upgrade the CPU in your computer. You get those gains while having that very natural looking image. They are doing things here that are taking what is essentially a lower performing piece of hardware in the PS5 and figuring out smart ways to upscale it. But at $700, which is going to be the real sticking point for a lot of people, especially with no disk drive, which some may say, well, like, especially in comparison to, say, the PC, which usually you don't have a disk drive attached to that, the average pro-level console buyer, I feel, wants a disk drive at least as an option. So the fact that they have to spend, what is it, US dollars? It would be, $780. At that point, it's hard to justify that over, and this is something that like me, Mike, and Grub have talked about on a few different shows now, like having a PC in your living room, even, like, I know that's so much more work to set up initially, but so much more flexibility. And you look at PS5 Pro, this is very specifically made for people who never want to touch settings menus, and they just want the best of the best. And that market, I feel, is just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking as people are moving to alternate options like PC. When Nikki, you started out with, like, this console is for nobody. I have been thinking, like, all exaggeration aside, who is this for? A very much shrinking audience here. It feels somewhat misguided, but I guess what Tam was saying of, like, sort of just boosting the PlayStation brand and having that expensive premium option available there to, like, sort of a rising tide raise all ships. I guess I just wonder how much that's going to actually pay off for them.
It's important to note that, like, games have to be, manually optimized for this thing, and there's only like 13 or so announced for that right now. And there's, like, big ones missing from this, like Final Fantasy 16, for example, is not on this list.
It is important to note with that. Sorry to cut you off, Mike, but just to insert real quick, it will be like PS4 Pro, where, like, older games using an older SDK can use PSSR at least, so they can take older games without, like, completely overhauling them. So I think we'll have good support eventually.
Yeah, there's something here called PS5 Pro Game Boost. It says which can apply to more than 8,500 backward compatible PS4 games playable on PS5 Pro also. So there should be some kind of standard improvement. Again, I'm not sure how big it is. I always wondered just exactly what the marketing was going to be. And I think that they did kind of identify the problem or the sticking point for a lot of people, that they don't like having to choose between fidelity modes and performance modes, right? They really spelled that out. And they kind of, as you said, Sean, they kind of, like, made it like, oh, we have a solution here. And it is a question of, like, oh, is this really the solution? Or is it kind of a stopgap? And if it's a stopgap, I don't know if I want to pay $700 for a stopgap.
Yeah, it feels like a workaround rather than a solution to me. It
feels like a workaround. And, I get people want consoles. They don't want to just hear, hey, go get a PC instead. Yeah. But one of the main arguments for consoles for so long is that, well, it's just much cheaper because these things are streamlined to be consoles. And when we're getting to $700 now, it's like, man, it's not that much cheaper. Like, it's a point that's just going to continue to drive more and more people, I think, to experiment more with PC gaming, which has already been the trend. And I know PlayStation's maybe a little bit emboldened because they don't feel as much pressure from Xbox. This is still, it's pretty wild, again, to even go as far as to not include a disc drive, which would at least make the product feel more premium. And I know it makes it more expensive to produce too. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm very curious to see how well it sells, because there is still a world where it sells well. There is a very passionate, high-end PlayStation fan base that will just want to buy the new thing. Yeah, like that's why things like the PlayStation Portal, which to me looks like it has limited appeal, but apparently sells pretty well. So I guess even though I don't quite understand this machine, I guess I don't want to count it out yet.
I think they'll sell a ton of them. Like, that's the thing. Like, to be very clear, it will sell out. There will be listings for this thing on StockX. People are going to pay $1,200 for one because it will be out of stock or whatever. But, like, because people like to buy things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. Like, I don't think there will be people. It will sell out. I think it's just like a conversation of whether or not fundamentally it is worth the legwork for these devs to do the work required to, like, get games to run better, to have this experience be, like, only a little bit better than it is going to be on your PlayStation 5 as it currently exists, when you could, for around $800, probably build a better PC.
I'm not sure about
that. It's going to do more.
Oh, can. We did an exercise on this because people, me and Mike talked about this on podcast the other night, where people were like, "Oh, well, a starting PC is $1,500," and we're like, I had to jump in because I was like, I'm on PC Part Picker right now. You can build basically a PS5, like, equivalent parts for $600. You can buy the NVIDIA equivalent for $700, and that NVIDIA equivalent will give you DLSS, which is better than PSSR. So. Yeah.
I mean, the audience you're talking to, the thing that they're buying isn't a if they're spending money, they're spending money in a large way on future-proofing their gaming experience. And at $800, the PC that you're building is on a clock, I feel like, very, very quickly. Maybe it will get you what, through the current console generation to the finish line at the same time, reaching the finish line at the same time as the PS5 Pro. But the issue that the PS5 Pro is attempting to address, which is taking the choice out of making settings and display decisions, is going to be very much present on a $800 PC.
That's the other side. Like, the person who is going to walk into Costco and say, I want to buy this PlayStation 5 Pro, is also the same person who is going to balk at the idea of plugging a Windows PC into their television.
Right, exactly.
Like, which isn't to say that it is not an easy thing. It's an easy thing for us, but like, people just want to buy a thing that connects to the TV and runs well. Yes, I think my issue is that those people would be equally served by not spending $700 American dollars just buying a regular PlayStation 5 and then moving on with their lives. They don't need to actually spend the extra, what is it, $250 plus a disk drive, so an extra over $300 when they could just go buy a PS5. But
there's that too.
PS5 is 4 years old now, by the way. It's still like, I mean, the base PS5 is still expensive. These systems used to get price drops, and now they just get now they just find ways to make them more expensive, even 4 years later.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that Microsoft spoke about, that it flew really under the radar. It's what Digital Foundry was told when they got to see the Series X and S early. And like, I feel like not a lot of people picked up on this, but they asked, like, what does a Series X Slim look like? In the long term, what's your goals for that? And they're like, there won't be one. Our Slim console is a Series S, because we can't slim this down much more than it already is. Component costs are at an all-time high, and maintaining that price, we can't like find ways to cut costs and build. And so you're probably not going to get one. And that's what we're seeing here with the PS5 Pro, is the reason it is $700 is because it's just expensive to make this stuff, even from the people who get discounts on these chips. Like the gap is closing, not to reference the presentation or whatever, but the gap is closing between DIY stuff on the PC side and the consumer grade hardware in the consoles. And you two are absolutely right that the average person wants a box they can plug into their TV and not have to think about any of this. And it is just the who is this for that I keep going back to, of it's a small audience that has a lot of money, is willing to spend all that money to have the best of the best and not look at alternatives, and also notices the fidelity boost they're getting for the Pro. And that's why this entire system feels a little misguided to me, is because I think people have become so obsessed with numbers because they spend too much time online, where Twitter is telling them 1080p is not good enough. If you don't have native 4K, you're trash and you should feel bad. If you just look at the image on your TV and look at how the system is already doing a pretty good job upscaling these things, you'll be happy with what you have. You just need to stop obsessing over the numbers as much. And I know it's not, not to apply it to everyone, because I myself am someone who does see the differences and cares about the differences. But that's also why I got off console hardware. So I keep scratching my head a little bit, even if I totally understand where everything is lined up in terms of this hardware landing for a specific audience.
Yeah. And it's also like, this specific thing, to that point, Sean, is running into a broader issue with the way that people buy things, right? Like, there is Sony is aware that it's for 4 people, but they can't sell it like it's only available, like only for 4 people.
Right.
They have to say that it is like such a big, important thing that you will be missing out if you do not get it. And that is endemic to car. It is endemic to computer. It is endemic to phone. Like, it is just how huge in phone. It's just like it fucking sucks. The thing you have already is fine. Yesterday I watched that iPhone event.
Yes.
And I was like, damn, gang, y'all got nothing.
Yeah, they spent millions and millions of dollars to convince you that you need a marginally better camera, and people will eat it up.
Yeah. I'm still used to a Moore's Law world, right? And we just aren't in that world anymore.
Over.
Yeah.
Like,
over.
There's no jump. Like, the innovation is we invented a contextual button on the side of the phone that you can use to take pictures. You know what already fucking has that? The camera that I bought.
Also, Apple's camera, their
it
post-processing,
fucking sucks. Don't get me
started so bad.
Let's not get started. I literally bought an iPhone for the video capabilities, and I took a still image, and I looked at it. I was like, what is this trash fire compared to the budget Pixel that I bought a few years back?
Here's what it is.
You're so, this is the exact... I had a problem with my previous phone where I was like, there is something wrong with this camera, and I don't understand it. I took it to the Apple store, and they did ran tests, and they're like, it says there's nothing wrong. But the Apple store employee was like, these pictures clearly look shit. So there's something wrong. We just can't diagnose it.
Processing.
So I got a new phone, and it was still bad. And I'm like, oh my god, I got fucking robbed.
I'll do a quick. I'll get on my little soapbox.
Okay.
The reason that Apple, if you watched this event yesterday, and this is the same conversation that Sony did with this PlayStation stuff. It's all tiny shit that you already are not really paying attention to. Whenever Apple shows you a photo that was taken on the phone now, in this video yesterday that they did, it was all the prettiest people you've ever fucking seen in these, like, the prettiest locations you've ever seen, or hyper studio, like studio lighting, studio technology, studio equipment, professionally lit, professionally formatted environments to let the camera do that thing very well. The camera does, if you spend $10,000 on location and then another $15,000 on equipment, yeah, dog, the camera's gonna do fucking great. If you're in a bar and the bar is dark and you're trying to take a picture of your black or brown friend, the camera's gonna have a fucking stroke. It doesn't know what to do. Or if you are trying to do something similar outside, the camera will say, well, there's too much light here. Got to get rid of these shadows. And that's why the photos on your iPhone look insane, because there's so much processing happening that it removes the artifice of taking a picture. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It was bad enough that I bought a Panasonic Lumix just to be
just buy a camera.
I'm just buying a camera. Yeah.
Interesting that y'all weren't happy with the performance of the thing you bought, so you saw it an alternative in a different realm that you weren't really used to, but you learned how to use. Interesting how that can sometimes pay off. Anyways, back to the PlayStation.
I think that it's very, very telling that, and I feel like it's a good illustration of how essential and how meaningful a change the PS5 Pro is that they didn't have a new game to be like, look at what this thing can do.
Well, because it's
Astro Bot's not even one of the enhanced games.
They can't do that yet.
Yeah.
They really can't do it at all.
Because they never will. Because
it creates a kind of a disparity and a divide between different PlayStations.
It's the same reason. Even though it's they didn't do it on PS4, because then the games they showed, it's a different generation.
Yeah, the games they showed were existing games, but the changes weren't noticeable enough for me to go oh shit.
Okay.
This is
well, Hogwarts Legacy was even still just at 30 frames per second, I think. It was just ray tracing. So Assassin's Creed Shadows is the one game that's actually upcoming that they showed, I think.
Yeah, that gets into part of my little soapbox here, is the fact that this was all shown off initially in a YouTube video that notoriously destroys all those little details that your PS5 Pro is going to give you. Is look, I know there's not many better options there, but that drove me up the wall, because that's why you see them doing the Digital Foundry style zoom. So many people accuse that channel of oh, well, they just zoom in on the details that nobody will ever notice, and they're well, no, we do it because most people watching are on their phone. and because YouTube destroys the video because of compression. So we zoom it in so that you can see the details that you might normally see on your TV, but like without it being like a muddy
But then
mess.
it's like, the thing is, Sean, they aren't going to see it on their TV because
won't.
they have a $500 TCL 4K, the shittiest HDR you've ever seen special. And it's like, no, they're not going to fucking notice. If you have an LG OLED, yeah, sure, absolutely, you might see this shit. But like the pixel density on some of these panels that they are shipping out right now, that they are calling 4K, that they are calling having HDR, that they are saying has Dolby Vision and whatever the fuck, those panels are ass. They are terrible. You cannot see anything.
Yeah, bad local dimming.
Thank God they at least didn't use the words 8K. And by the way, it's still wild that was ever on the box for the base PlayStation 5. They got rid of it because they're like, well, that was a lie.
I mean, that brings us all full circle, Nikki, because like we said at the top of the segment here, it's all marketing. Like they need to like make everyone think that you need this thing, even though no, this is the person who needs a PS5 Pro, you know, this is all video games. Nobody needs any of this, let's be real. But the person who needs a PS5 Pro in their chain for their entertainment setup is so small because you need a really good TV. You need to be willing to spend this money. It's not to just completely destroy the very cool tech that they have here, but it's just not, I think, a great idea in general.
And you know what? And you know what?
Go ahead,
I look forward to having a PlayStation 5 Pro.
Well, if they want to send me
because
money.
I can play Demon Souls 1 frame better. I'll take it.
They could have at least given us Bloodborne with this.
Isn't it right?
Yeah, or something. I just know that nobody's going to care because I watched a lot of NFL over the weekend because the season started. ESPN and college football also over the course of the last 2 weeks. ESPN online, like if you have YouTube TV or like Fubo or whatever, or you're using the ESPN app, is still sending 720p video to your 4K screen.
That's what they broadcast.
You know who doesn't fucking complain? Anybody. No, like us. I complain. I'm pissed about it. Nobody says shit. Nobody gives a shit.
Because they don't truly know the difference. It's
they
all like
they don't
internet
know the
arguing.
Difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
It's moving in a way that it's just not gonna give a shit. Like you're not.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? About.
Well, at the end of the day, the moral of the story is instead buy Apple Mac Pro wheels for $700. Thank you.
That's exactly it. That's a better use of your money.
All right, I got some other headlines here. We're ready.
My table's got a USB port in it.
That's crazy.
I just put my hand on the table and I was like, what the fuck is this? That's a USB port.
To charge your phone?
I'm going to charge it all kinds of shit with this.
Was your desk plugged in? Hold on. Did you plug your desk in and then not question why you had to plug the desk in?
It's a standing desk. So I think
okay. So it moves up and down. Okay, that makes sense.
Which is true, but yeah.
I just love the idea that like your desk that has no other features. You were like, well, there's a plug in it. Gotta plug this bad boy in.
Yeah, gotta go.
Ubisoft shares plunge again after investor urges company to go private. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. The Assassin's Creed publisher's share price fell almost 10% during trading yesterday before closing down 7.13% at 13.67 euros. It's fallen by more than 50% over the last 12 months and now sits close to a 10-year low. The company's share price had already declined significantly earlier this month, reportedly driven by a combination of a poorer-than-expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws and a sharp decline in interest in free-to-play shooter X-Defiant. On Monday, hedge fund AJ Investments published an open letter calling for strategic and structural changes at Ubisoft. It feels like Ubisoft has been skirting with disaster for a long time here. It's been maybe not a great year for them. Remember Skull and Bones? That was this year.
That was this year.
Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to come out someday, maybe. One thing I'm confused. Yeah, one thing I'm confused about these stories. They keep talking about the poor launch of Star Wars Outlaws. I don't know where numbers are for that at all, so I'm not sure like how we know it's a poor launch. Not that I don't believe it. I just wonder where that's coming from. But I don't know. How are we all feeling about Ubisoft these days?
The people there seem great and lovely. It seems as if the people who run the business at Ubisoft do not know how to run a business.
Yes.
So I mean, like, fucking, like, sorry. Really, like, when like shares plunge, like, all that means is that like a rich person's making less money or is like about to make less money.
Right.
And then the way that they will fix that is they will lay a bunch of people off. So like that, I feel like, is what the next beat here is, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like, I don't really want to talk about the share side of it because it's just that stuff is so alienating to the people who, in many ways, dictate the success of that company. Like the average gamer, when you talk to them about shares, it's just going to be like, whereas like weirdos like us are into it. But so from the perspective of someone who is just looking at Ubisoft as a company that develops and publishes games, it feels like they are in a very, very stagnant place and are like paralyzed by decisions that have been made previously and precedent, to the point where they're just not making any meaningful steps forward towards any sort of greener pasture. So their entire business is currently hinging on Assassin's Creed. Like Assassin's Creed is the thing that is keeping that company afloat, and it will likely continue to do that because Assassin's Creed has proven itself to be a long-term franchise with a lot of adaptability and evolutionary potential. And every Assassin's Creed is a person's first Assassin's Creed. And as a first-time gaming experience, that franchise has a remarkable way of capturing the imagination.
yeah.
And I feel like that gives that franchise longevity in a way that will sustain Ubisoft to a degree for a long, long time. But beyond that, it's a company that has been desperately trying to chase trends instead of define new kind of opportunities for themselves, and hasn't been successful at it. Whether that's the games as a service stuff, the kind of microtransaction stuff, the mobile stuff, the weird NFT stuff, blockchain stuff that they previously got behind and have been quiet about since. All that stuff has not meaningfully provided any. They don't have a foot in that in those fields, a stable footing at all.
Yeah.
The best games as a service title they have is Siege, and that came out pre-games as a service Rush. Like that was just a game that they made that was very good and kept it like it retrospectively fit into the mold of a games as a service title. But beyond that, they have the licensing games, which again is like, it doesn't seem to be executing in a way like the Star Wars is the first major license thing that they've. Well, I guess Avatar.
Well, they had Avatar. It should have seemed like it made a big splash, right?
It's just not hitting in the way that a Star Wars game should hit and an Avatar game should hit. And Avatar is good. Like it's an enjoyable video gaming experience, as is Star Wars. But it's just, you look at those two IPs and then you look at the performance of those games from Ubisoft and the like discussion around them, and there's a disparity, there's a mismatch there, and there's something being lost along the way. The best potential game that they have right now, like franchise that I feel like is like under appreciated or like under discussed, that has like forward looking like healthy potential, is The Division. And they're like 3 games into that now.
Yeah, and they canceled that mobile one that they were working on, though. So it's like even that's precarious.
Yeah, and like, but Division is, people love that thing, but like it's also very generic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, the world is moving on around them. Like, how is that 3rd Division game gonna do when it eventually inevitably comes out? What does Far Cry look like next? And I just don't see where.
Dude, Far Cry.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I just don't see anything really. And it's a shame because they clearly have the ability to make bangers that are something different. Like Prince of Persia came out in January, still one of the best games of this year.
Yeah.
The problem is capitalism, their margins, their goals, they're so astronomically high that there's very few games that they could make that will reach the levels that will push that company to meet that kind of expectation. Because something like Prince of Persia, everything could go right with it in every single way, it probably still isn't moving the needle for Ubisoft.
They should break up and nationalize Ubisoft.
So
every country, because Ubisoft's got a game studio in every fucking country, right?
Yeah.
So you just break this shit up, and then every country gets their own game studio.
Everyone gets an Ubisoft.
Yeah, everyone gets a slice.
Couple things. I did misspoke earlier. So yeah, the Division Heartland was that free to play thing that got canceled. I think the mobile game is still happening, at least right now.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, don't worry. In that letter from AJ Investments calling for the changes, it urged the board to consider taking the company private, implement a comprehensive cost reduction program, and optimize staffing levels to be more comparable with industry leaders. He's talking about layoffs.
They're talking about layoffs and cutting costs.
Yeah. Right. Also urges to focus on core IPs, which I guess is a way of saying stop doing licensed stuff, and consider replacing current CEO Yves Guillemot.
Oh, okay.
No, we can't get rid of Yves.
Good luck, man.
That guy's survived so many things.
I mean, it's his business. It's a family business.
Yeah, at this point, like, he's not leaving until he dies.
No. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you take the company private, wouldn't he be more secure than ever without?
I think so, but like again, like you take that company private. Does it mean that you're in a reasonable time able to operate at a level that is meeting expectations? No, I feel like if Ubisoft takes itself private, it needs to scale down everything, which doesn't seem like people who are executives will very, very naturally be like, we'll just make this smaller. That's not a normal executive brain.
No, they want to be infinite, just like Nikki and because Assassin's Creed Infinity they don't talk about that much recently, I feel like, but that's the future of Assassin's Creed, right? I still don't really understand what the hell that is.
Ubisoft would be so well served if they didn't release any video games for 5 years. Like, if companies could do that, like if they just were like, we're gonna hang out for 5 years,
just pretend everything is beyond good and evil too. Yeah, and you'll be fine.
Where's that Splinter Cell remake? What's going on?
Yeah, where the hell is that? I don't know. We'll see if Ubisoft gets things figured out. Next headline here: Family Market, a really important focus for PlayStation, CEO says. This is from Victoria Kennedy at Eurogamer. Reflecting on Astro Bot's recent success, Herman Hulse, PlayStation's recently appointed joint CEO, has now said the family market is really important for us to focus on. Hulse was speaking on the official PlayStation podcast in a joint interview with Astro Bot's creative director, Nico Dosset. During the discussion, the show's host asked if PlayStation would now consider putting more of its resources behind these games with a more family-friendly feel, noting LEGO Horizon is also set to release in just a few short months. I think it's massively important that PlayStation Studios develop games in various genres, and the family market I think is really important for us to focus on, Hulse said. Astro is very, very important to PlayStation, he continued. Obviously, we had the pre-install, Astro's Playroom, on the PlayStation 5, that millions and millions and millions of people have embraced and loved, and I think that's become a little bit of a platform to launch this new game now. I've been critical in the past for PlayStation kind of, once having a really strong stable of family-friendly games with things like Crash and Spyro and Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank, and letting a lot of that kind of fall to the wayside as they focused on their kind of more prestigious story-driven games. They tried here and there. We did have Sackboy's Big Adventure at the PlayStation 4 launch. You had Astro packed in there. But I think that would be a very smart thing for them to continue investing in this path. Astro Bot seems like a very good step forward there. There's a lot of franchises that we see in there, things like Ape Escape that just really do see primed for a comeback. I don't know, how do you all feel about the kind of importance of that family market, which again is basically the reason why Nintendo seems future-proof to some degree.
Yeah,
congrats on...
They want fun.
Yeah, congrats. Congrats, you remembered that kids also need stuff. Good for you. Cool. Good luck getting the kids to spend $700 on your new box. Also, okay.
I mean, honestly, that is a huge barrier to the family market. Is a $500 system when a $300 Switch or $200 Switch
or
Lite
a $200 Switch Lite. Yeah, not $200. I need to be very clear. $200 is a lot of money, but when you're thinking about investment in my child having a good time and or shutting the fuck up for 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You get the same level of kid shut the fuck up for $200, and you get a wider library of stuff that has more, that is going to do more for the kid than there are on the PlayStation 5. Let's count the family games. Astro's Playroom, Astro Bot, Sackboy's Big Adventure,
and kind of you have a Ratchet and Clank.
Even
Elden Ring.
Yes, Ratchet and Clank, Elden Ring, and that's it. There's 6 of them.
Compatibility.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you do that when you could give your kid your old phone, which you've already spent money on, that has games on it, or you can put them in front of your shitty laptop, which has games on it, or they can play Roblox or whatever. Like, yeah, good luck, I guess, on this.
It's wild, but like bringing it back, this is a Tickle Me Elmo situation.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to have this thing that appeals to younger audiences, but then it is so expensive to get that it's just impossible for that specific audience to engage with the thing that you're making for them.
Yeah.
Like there's no kids that are going to look at, or parents are going to look at this Astro Bot game, go, that's very child friendly, and then be like, I'm going to spend $700 on this console, or even $500.
$500, yeah, like $500 for the regular one is too much. And like, if the move for this, right, is this Astro's or Lego Horizon comes out, that's in November or December, right?
Yeah,
if their move actually after this is the Switch 2 gets announced, and then like as a launch game, Lego Horizon is on that platform, then it's a different conversation, right? Because then it's like
Lego Horizon is just coming to base Switch.
Yeah, it's already on Switch.
It is? Oh, it's already on Switch. Okay, so then maybe if they keep doing that, for sure, but it's not, they're not going to grow the PlayStation specifically off of increased family game output.
I mean, that's a whole conversation that people don't want to have. A lot of people who frankly will be angry at the whole conversation we just had about PlayStation, they don't want to admit that going elsewhere is how you find a different audience. But like all of this is, it feels like frankly, gaming as a whole, all these companies have played themselves by ballooning out of control and being these big, prestigious, mature games. Guess what? There's only so many adults out there who want to play games. And so once you've already sold to them, where do you go? Freaking nowhere if you can't get the kids on board. And if you can't get the kids on board, they don't care about your brand moving forward into the future. They care about Roblox and Minecraft and Fortnite that they can already play on, like Nikki said, mom and dad's old phone/tablet or a Switch console, which is significantly cheaper. So it's a really tricky situation that I don't know how they get themselves out of if they want to expand. And I don't know if you even can at this point. That's why, as much as, let's be real, Xbox is behind the curve this generation. The Series S was a smart play for the position they were in, because a $300 system that you can buy as like a Christmas present for little Timmy makes a lot more sense. Now, granted, they don't have a ton of family-friendly stuff over there either, but they also banger Fortnite machine and Game Pass
Fortnite machine. Yeah. And they have Game Pass, which is like a different sell. But like,
I mean,
I don't know.
Read between the lines here. Like the CEO Herman Hulse is saying the family market is really important for PlayStation, not the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 6.
That's true.
It's for PlayStation. So like that family market means when they talk about appealing to the family market, they talk about a all-encompassing strategy that involves potentially bringing your games to other platforms, which is going to happen more and more and more, whether people like it or not. Yeah. And also like diversifying where people engage with that stuff. That includes like movies, TV shows, Funko Pops, whatever it may be. The family market is how they get, they can use so many different avenues to bring the family market to PlayStation. The problem they have is inevitably they're going to have to try and those people are going to make a decision around whether they want to invest in the core thing that is PlayStation, which is the hardware. And Sony just doesn't have currently, to my mind, the ability to translate a kid that's seen an Astro Bot TV show to a kid that now owns a PlayStation console because the barrier to entry is too high still.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to what we were saying of like, hey, imagine if you got off the internet for a second, if like you and your friend were not on Twitter or whatever, and you didn't care about any of this crap in this capacity. Imagine your friend telling you, hey, you know that game you want to play? You don't have to buy the $500 box. It's coming to your existing box. Isn't that neat? And your friend goes, yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad they're doing that. Nobody cares about the fanboy BS. So make sure to not to keep that in mind when it comes to games coming to other platforms, because that's how people realistically think.
Got a couple more headlines we can maybe hit here before we move on. FromSoftware job posting suggests Armored Core 7 is on the way. This is from Hayes Madsen at Inverse. A new job posting from the company says several new projects are in the works, and one of those projects in particular asks for familiarity with mecha. After the success of Armored Core 6, it's hard to see that clue as pointing to anything else. The job posting, first spotted by PSU, comes from FromSoftware's career page and was also shared on the company's recruiting account on X. These roles were launched as part of a recruitment drive to gear up for multiple upcoming projects. While almost nothing is known about any of these projects, there's a little bit of information on description for a character designer role. So, we're all kind of wondering about the future of FromSoftware, what exactly is next. There's been some comments from Miyazaki that they don't want to do that. Basically, the scale of Elden Ring is the limit for them. It's not going to ever be anything bigger than that, but still multiple projects. Well, one of them's going to be whatever is next from that core Souls team, but I'm encouraged at least that it seems like Armored Core isn't going away. I really enjoyed Armored Core 6. It was something of a surprise for me. So whether this is, the DLC they're working on, which it could be a possibility here, or some kind of spin-off thing, I'm pretty happy there. How are you guys feeling about the future of FromSoftware?
I bet it's going to be a 3v3 tactical shooter.
Hell yeah.
In the Armored Core engine. It's going to feel really good. Everyone's going to fucking love it. Yeah.
How's the FromSoft fan on here think of this? What do you think, Dan?
I mean, it makes sense. I feel like the idea of a mecha showing up pretty much clearly defines what this is going to be. There is a small possibility that it is like the traditional Souls team, the core Souls team, or one of them decides they want a new spin on their whole style of making games, and it's a FromSoftware game, but with mechs. But I think they're smart enough to know not to do that because it would kind of pollute the waters or muddy the waters for a franchise like Armored Core, which I think is on the ascent more than it has ever been before. So I personally believe like the smart bet would be another Armored Core game, especially given the reception to Armored Core. So that's really good. I feel like they hit on something really, really special with Armored Core 6. And it's roped in people that just you would never expect to be playing Armored Core games. And it still has enough of its own unique kind of identifiers and hooks that it isn't like a reskinned Souls game.
Yeah.
It's not even as close to a Souls game experience as Sekiro was to traditional Souls games. It's a very, very different experience, but has that unmistakably From styling to it and From feel to it and From kind of loop to it. So I feel like that now that the Armored Core franchise and the Armored Core team has been given a new lease on life, and they have the benefit of knowing what FromSoftware is capable of having a core identity for the studio, which then can be leveraged to make the games, and that would distinguish them from other, developers and publishers out there. So seems like it makes sense. I do think that the core, From team is going to go on to something else now. I'm sure that there's a whole fleet of dump trucks being backed up full of money that's with the words Elden Ring 2 written on it. Yeah. But I feel like of all the developers, and I'm obviously slightly biased because I love the studio, of all the developers, FromSoftware is the most likely and in the best position to be like, no, we will not do an Elden Ring 2. We will go and make something brand new. And the studio and the publishers, the money makers, whoever it may be, will still be like, we'll still give you the money. Just we'll give you that money. Just let us do it. I fully expect there to be another like. I think they're going to go into something in the vein of Sekiro and Bloodborne, which is something that is unexpected, maybe even like exclusive to a platform or for a period of time, and is like more focused on another idea that is, gameplay mechanics driven and a little more like focused.
Yeah, and I think it is cool that they sort of have leveraged the prestige of the studio to sort of raise up some of their lesser known series such as Armored Core, because like I'm not a huge Souls guy. I like the faster from games like a Bloodborne or a Sekiro, but I'm not super into the more methodical Souls style. So I am glad that Armored Core is its own thing, but just me knowing that FromSoft's games are incredibly well made, I'm like, even if I don't love all his studio stuff, like I'm gonna get in there and try it. And I did try out Armored Core 6, and there were some aspects about it that I didn't like, so I did fall off eventually. Like I didn't love the sort of radio drama presentation of the story and everything. I know some people do, like I know Grub really likes it, but just wasn't for me. But just the fact that someone like me,
that's how he consumed stories in the past when he was a boy.
It's the only way he consumes stories, Nikki. He only listens to audiobooks and skips cutscenes and everything else. But yeah, just like if it got someone like me in the door, like I think that's a good sign for them. Just, again, using that prestige to sort of raise up their other projects. It's really cool.
I think it's gonna be cookies and cream. Last one here. Space Marine 2 sees highest concurrent player peak ever for a Warhammer 40k game on Steam. This is from Wesley and Poo at IGN. Space Marine 2 launched proper the other day, September 9th, after 4 days of early access, and soon shot to record-breaking success for a Warhammer 40k game. Space Marine 2 saw a huge 24-hour peak concurrent player count of 690 players on Steam, the highest peak ever seen for a game in the series on Valve's platform, alongside a very positive user review rating. Indeed, Space Marine 2 is now the most played 40k or Warhammer game ever on Steam. To put the launch into context, Space Marine 2 knocked Total War Warhammer 3's 166,754 peak concurrence into second place. I feel like I'm just hearing good buzz about this game. Seems like people are really into it. I kind of want to check it out, and it seems like maybe, I respect the kind of shotgun approach Warhammer 40k has had to just sort of releasing a ton of video games.
Yeah,
and
we'll
it
give
seems
it
like
to whoever.
it seems like more of them than not kind of hit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm glad that this little IP is finally getting some love. But yeah, I mean, like, it's a incredibly versatile property that you can turn into basically anything. And we're at the stage now where the people who are making these video games probably grew up playing like Warhammer, whether that's the classic stuff or the 40k stuff. And there are a surprisingly a good number of Warhammer games now, like you said, that are super high quality. Like Total Warhammer is one of them, but like Vermintide, Darktide, that
Bolt
kind of
Gun.
stuff. There's Bolt
Yeah,
Gun,
you liked Bolt Gun,
Rogue
right, Mike?
Trader.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is such a versatile and like Games Workshop seems to be a little more fast and loose with taking shots at it, and why not? Like they've got the foundation of their business is rock solid. Again, they're in a position where Warhammer is eternally cool. Like people are always going to be into Warhammer for one reason or another. So they have the luxury to just be like, who wants to make a thing? If it goes well, great. If it doesn't, we still have these plastic toys that are selling $1 billion a day or whatever. So yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
All right. Tam, I'm gonna hand the show back over to you.
Me. We're gonna head over to emails now, but before that, another quick bricky break. And a few words from the sponsors. emails. If you want to send, if you want, he's really going for it. Emails. If you want to send Giant Bomb an email, you can hit us up at bombcast@giantbomb.com. We're going to begin with one from Ryan about physical media. Ryan says, "Hi, Giant Bomb. With the recent discussions/emails regarding whether to get a PC or console, which I largely agree with, these days I felt there was one factor not mentioned. PC basically doesn't support any physical games. They just aren't made anymore. Sure, you could get a disk drive for old stuff, but that's about it. I've realized that I will likely always have a console around for some physical media, holding on to whatever ownership I have these days. Is this a consideration for you all?"
Yeah, look where the tide's going, though. Look at the PlayStation 5 Pro, $700, and guess what? It doesn't come with, right?
Yeah.
And right now there's an option that you're going to be able to buy a disk drive and add it on there. How many more years are we going to even have that option still, right? Like, I completely get the physical media arguments. I understand it completely. I kind of waved the white flag a bit on that one. I just think it's going away, and I'm just kind of resigned to it.
Yeah.
How much do discs even do anymore? Isn't it not very much?
What do you mean?
No.
Like capacity?
No, I mean
Like sales?
No. Well, no.
What do you mean?
If I go to the store right now and you buy the video game Call of Duty,
like what's on the disc?
What's on the disc?
Oh, so this is
not a lot.
No. This is a huge misconception, and this is okay. This is never my time to shine because I think I'm the only one who cares about like physical media for modern stuff around here. It's a huge misconception that most games don't have the base game on. They do. They have the 1.0. But the problem is day one patches have become such a big thing that your 1.0 is often not amazing. But if it's a smaller game, especially if you're buying like, a AA or let alone an indie title, you're getting the entire thing. And then
for sure.
Yeah, your big like Ubisoft games and whatever, you're getting the 1.0. That's going to have some bugs, but it's still fully playable. The thing about physical media is, for most people, it's about that sense of ownership. And let me introduce you to DRM-free digital. That's why I love buying things on like GOG or directly from the developers of a game or something. Because then when you buy it, you can just download it, you can back it up, you can burn it to a disk, you can put it on a USB drive, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. That is true ownership. Your disk, even technically, is not true ownership. The problem is you can't do anything with it past that point. You own the media, but no one else can. And that's something I understand a lot because, nowadays I get a lot of games review codes, perk of the job. But with physical media, I still like to buy that because I can pass on that disc to someone else. If I don't like a game that I buy, on my own pocket, I can get rid of it and get some of my money back. So I totally get that. I think it's kind of the theme of the whole console versus PC conversation we've been having. I'm certainly not trying to convince anyone to do something that they don't want to do. Enjoy games in whatever way you want. But I think there's a lot of misconceptions around PC, and one of those is, that like you're resigning to digital in its entirety and all the pitfalls of console digital. Yes, Steam is the biggest platform on PC. Yes, it is a DRM factory. But it's also a DRM factory that just works so much better than other platforms that most people just don't care, is where we're at right now. And also, there's other nebulous things like Valve has talked about. We have a plan for in the future, if all this stuff does go away, we'll have some way for you to access your games. So just even that small thing is like, okay, they're thinking about these things. I just have more faith in Steam as a digital platform than I do PlayStation or Xboxes or let alone Nintendo's digital storefronts, So that's how I see it as a PC fan who also likes physical media.
Yeah, I like physical media, but I feel like we don't really have much of a say in it. The business of media is what dictates how the movements happen with this. Because I could, till the end of time, be like, I want this, but fundamentally and like factually, discs aren't doing well in retail. they make the whole process more expensive because like publishers and developers now have to account for putting a physical thing on a shelf space. It's just, and then like, the limitations of size and speed and that kind of stuff. At a certain point, the industry just pushes through any sort of preferences that we have just to make things cheaper for themselves or make more money. And the elimination of physical media both makes the release and production of video games or movies cheaper and for everyone, and that it results in higher revenue generation. They can make it cheaper, sell it for a price that gives them a little bit of money on the back end without, and all they really need to account for is like server space. And that is the be all end all of it. I think the physical media industry will become more bolstered as a kind of novelty thing.
Yeah, like a boutique,
limited run
boutique thing. 8-bit.
Limited run IM 8-bit. That kind of stuff is what makes sense. Like I bought a physical thing. I realized that I didn't have all the Dark Souls games in one place. They were kind of like scattered across multiple generations and consoles. So I bought the PlayStation, like the compendium. That was the last thing I bought. And I feel like there's going to be more of stuff like that, where it's like, here's a nice version of a video game that came out a while back. But the tricky part is obviously like, not every game is going to get it. The thing that you want isn't guaranteed to have it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's very much at the whims of tastes and demand for it.
Yeah, and that's why places like Limited Run are cool. The other day I got my they were doing a overstock sale, and so I got the convention exclusive RZ on Switch, and because I have a digital version of RZ. I didn't pre-order the physical copy because I didn't know how much I would like it, but that game rules. Like I should have known it would, and just having it on my shelf is cool.
RZ's still in like my top 10. I love RZ.
It's really good. Yeah.
I loved it.
I can't wait to get that. I'm just gonna start bringing that to events we go to and see how many people who like in passing have a cameo or whatever. See how many people I can get to sign. Like, get John and Naughty, get MVG, get all these people involved to like sign it. That'd be really cool. Yeah, that is a nice thing about physical media, and that's why I still like it.
Yeah. Next email comes from Jeff from Quebec, and it's called Laser Eyes, and it's very simple. Oh no, is this the same person? No, this is from Chris. Sorry. Chris says, if you could shoot lasers from your eyes, how do you think it would change your life?
Pretty dramatically, Chris.
I'd accidentally kill somebody and feel really bad about it and go to jail. It would not be good. I don't think there's a positive to it. I guess I could start fires very easily, which again seems like it could lead to problems.
The government finds you, you're done. That's the thing about this happening to you.
They're going to take your eyes out to study them. Yes, they're going to absolutely take your eyes out.
You think that the government would take your eyes out before using you for military purposes first?
Yes, because they don't want one stupid asshole who can shoot laser eyes. They want a whole army that can.
They want to
Mike is
1,000,000%
right. Yeah, Mike is 100% right.
Yeah. I feel like they would send you into a couple of Black Ops missions before they took your eyys out.
No, because then they might lose my eyes. Because what if I fall? Yeah, because what if I get taken by the enemy?
Dead, You think they'll take? Maybe they'll take one eye.
I do compromise. That's right.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to take. They will just like seize control of you and experiment on you because this is a one of a kind thing, and they don't know how it works. So if they're like, we could remove the eyes, but then it could not function, and we would have no idea what to do with it. So I feel like they'd poke and prod you for a really long time.
Now, is it? I can control when the eyes shoot lasers. Not a Cyclops situation where I need my special visor, or else it's just completely out of whack.
The question does say if you could shoot lasers from your eyes. So yes, I'm assuming you are just Cyclops from the X-Men.
Which also means that if you're Cyclops from X-Mening it, your laser won't produce heat because his one doesn't produce heat, which means it's less dangerous.
But then you could do cool flips and tricks. And
stuff. I just know that the term optic blast would be in my vocabulary so much
100%. But like also it's not going to be nearly as cool because we're not like built like Cyclops and just like schlubby. I'll be like a schlubby dude optic blasting like a packet of cookies off the top of a supermarket aisle just so I can catch it.
Good on Cyclops being that fit, right? Because he does not need to be. He could shoot lasers out of his eyes. He doesn't need to be strong to be able to do that.
I feel like the fitness helps his effectiveness. Like
he needs cardio for sure, but he
I think
doesn't
he
need
needs
to be
muscles.
buff.
Because like if he does an optic blast against something that puts up enough resistance, he wants to be able to hold his ground and move forward instead of like pushing back, and that will be weight, not cardio. Or if he's like jumping really far because he needs to get high, get height, so he can optic blast downwards. Then
admit it though, it'd be kind of funnier if like the Cyclops of the team had more of a me body, and right, it's like I can shoot laser. I mean, I'm hopeful. You want me here? Like, I'm not going to take the stairs though. I'm using the elevator. But like, let's go get Magneto.
I would, if I had to get it, I would get the Elden Ring style Flame of Frenzy, fire from your eyes thing, where every now and then I just like start writhing around and then just lasers go fucking everywhere and anyone around me is like getting singed. Yeah. That's what I would go for.
Does Lorelei in the game, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, actually have laser eyes? I don't know much about that game.
I played 10 minutes of
that
game.
Bunch of it.
This is not for me. I'm out, so I could not tell you, Mike.
As far as I played a few hours of it. I don't think there's any actual laser eyes yet.
Fuck.
I think
I can't lie like that.
Is it like a Scooby-Doo title where it's like the laser eyes are somewhere else in the mythology that someone else has?
What's the relationship to Scooby-Doo there?
What do you mean?
Because it's like Scooby-Doo and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo and blank. I'm probably thinking of, I'm probably missing something else, like a Nancy Drew or something like that, like blah, 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 and whatever,
It might be. I think is more like this person's an investigator and figuring things out, and they can.
That makes so much more sense, Dan. I feel real stupid. I thought that she was. A
it might not be
thing.
That.
I think you're 100% right now that you say it like that. I think she's just has good self-awareness and understands what's happening right here.
Like character just going through like a mysterious mansion, just fucking blasting everything.
So much cooler, dude.
Yeah. Imagine how much easier Mist would be if he could shoot lasers out of his.
Resident Evil 1, totally different game if you're just Cyclops.
Okay, well, I'm very thankful for this email now. It really opened my laser eyes.
Educational.
Laser eyes will definitely change Mitch's life.
Open up my laser eyes, because I'm Mr. Brightside.
Next email comes from Jeff from Quebec, as promised earlier. Be a video game is the title. Hello, bombers. If you were a video game instead of a human, which one would you be? It's not about your favorite game and what you aspire to be. It's just about what you actually really are. For example, Dan may love Metal Gear Solid 3, and he may wish he was Super Mario Maker, but we all know he's actually WCW/Nitro and NWO Revenge for the N64.
I think you'd be happy with that too.
Yeah, I think you'd love that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Question.
This is a great question. I'm trying to figure out what video game am I? Gosh, does anybody have one for like? Maybe it's easier we do. Like if you told me Tam is Soul Reaver, I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like he likes it a lot, and the vibe is similar. Oh, good, thank you.
I think that you would be the video game Krusty's Funhouse.
I literally just accidentally laughed like Krusty as you said that.
I feel like you are the human embodiment of the video game Krusty's Funhouse.
I'm a Lemmings clone for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. I kind of understand that.
That's good.
I was just playing Choo Choo Rocket. It made me think of Lemmings, so I was actually thinking about Krusty's Funhouse not too long ago.
I think the boring answer for Mike though is he is just Disneyland Adventures for the Xbox Connect.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, can I be like Adventures in Magic Kingdom for the NES though? Similar, but it's made by Capcom.
because of everything you just said, you are so Disneyland Adventures, dude.
No, okay, that's fair.
What about Kingdom Hearts? You could be Kingdom Hearts.
I'm Infinity Nikki.
I could definitely be Kingdom Hearts. That's pretty easy.
I don't know if you like anime quite enough.
Yeah. Sean's kind of, again, maybe it's just like I associate Sean with the game so much, but Mega Man Legends, I get vibes from that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a youthful energy to both things.
I would be a
green
digger.
Grass, bright blue sky.
Yeah.
What?
A digger. Digging.
Oh.
Nikki. Digging. Like the kids used to do on the internet back
Moving on. Nikki, what would you be?
Infinity Nikki.
Oh, yeah?
It's my game. I'm forever. I am constant. I'm never ending.
I do think, and this is another one that we associate with the person, but I do think like Fuser is so much your vibe.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Oh yeah,
I do love a concert music festival, people together, hang out, listen to a thing.
I would have gone with DDR. I feel like you have a DDR energy to you. If you became a video game, it'd be DDR.
Jeff Grubb is definitely Mud Runners, right? Just that
game
where you drive trucks around that he loves.
Truck mud game.
I've never even played a second of, which is weird to me.
Well, listen, Infrastructure Week is a couple of weeks away. You will.
I feel like Jeff Grubb is Super Meat Boy.
I think you could assign that to me also pretty easily.
Just like sprinting around so fast, happy as can be, and accidentally saying things that are the equivalent of him jumping into like saw blades constantly and then bouncing around and doing it again. Like that is Jeff Grubb.
If you asked him, I think he might say Octodad. I know he like really like actually identify with that game. Like, oh, this is like, oh, I get it, right? Yeah. So I think he might go Octodad.
We got Bacala and Lucy to do.
Is there like a Doom themed expansion for PC Builder? Because that's Jeff Bacala.
That's a
Doom.
Like he's a Doom like map maker, not Doom himself. He's the map maker.
He's the level editor in like Doom Eternal or whatever.
I think Baclar's just like a Metallica pinball machine, like a real one.
Yeah, just like a shoot pinball machine.
Just a shoot Metallica pinball machine.
Surely Bacala. I feel like Bacala is Typing of the Dead.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
That's such a good call.
That's really good.
What about Lucy?
Lucy
Quake.
Come on.
Nah, I feel like Lucy.
Just because of Nine Inch Nails, that's all I got.
Well, that's good.
I feel like if I had to, if Lucy was melted down and became a video game disc, it would be Mass Effect.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it would be Mass
Or like
Effect.
a Dragon Age.
Yeah, she does love Dragon Age, but I feel like her vibe is more Mass Effect.
Is more space.
Yeah, space.
We haven't done Jan yet.
We do Jan.
Yeah.
Someone said Jan is Billy Hatcher, which I just thought was a delightful thing to say about
it's fucked
Jan.
up that I considered Billy Hatcher for myself a moment ago. Why are multiple people thinking about Billy Hatcher today? What's
a good game
on the air?
Well, it's an okay game. It's
it's like
kind of fun.
If Glover was slightly better, maybe if Glover was slightly worse, I'm not.
Yeah,
sure.
maybe slightly worse. Like Glover kind of fucks, you know. Like,
I think Jan also might be Cooking Mama.
Oh yeah, Cooking Mama.
Yeah, that's another boring one where Jan just is coffee talk. Like just wanting to coffee and then like have a good conversation with your friends. Like that's him right there. Yeah. Tam, did we come up with one for you yet?
I said Soul Reaver, which I didn't hate.
I mean,
there's an association.
I'll take Soul Reaver.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like Soul Reaver's kind of like, I don't know. It takes itself like seriously, but it's still fun. You know, which I kind of associate. Come on, that's a compliment, Tam. Right? And look, as somebody who treats his life like a clown show, I respect your.
You can do both. You know,
exactly.
I'll take it. I'll always abide by any sort of association with Soul Reaver.
There you go.
Next question comes from Winship from Edmonton. Kids game question mark? Good morning, Astro Bomb crew. This weekend I platinum Astro Bot. Easily top 3 of my game of the year. You can't have a top 3 game. You have one game of the year. But I see what you're saying. So much fun. But Twitter discourse says it's a kids game. The game felt like a Mario game, which I never thought of as a kids game. Is Astro Bot a kids game? I'm now curious what makes a game a kids game.
Every video game is a kids game.
Yes.
Sorry.
And you know what? That's okay, because video games are for kids, but also we can like them too.
Yeah. That's it.
I'll take it. I mean, like, Astro Bot, it's really funny because like it is technically a kids game on the face of it, but like any kid that is growing up today will not be able to appreciate the nostalgia that is a significant portion of that game. So in that respect, it's not really a kids game because they weren't alive when all this stuff was happening.
For sure.
Yeah, a kids game is something that, like, I don't know, like edgelords or weird depressed people called video games that don't have realistic graphics and decapitations or violent depictions of sex. I don't know. Did you guys see the Days Gone creative director was like upset that like how dare they use my character to promote
shocker.
this little kids game?
Good, get right,
so
dude.
Funny.
Sean, what is the name of that character?
I've never played that game for a minute in my life. I have no idea.
You know it, right?
Deke.
Okay.
Deke?
Cool.
Deke the plumber?
I
like the
saw it and I
cartoon
was like,
studio?
I saw that tweet and I was like, gun to my head. If
Yeah.
you asked me to name the name of that character, it will be my funeral in a couple of months. I would be like, no, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. People are saying, chat, is it Deacon? Is his full
Deacon
name?
St. John.
Well, Deke, his friends call him Deke.
His friends call him.
His
Yes,
wife
his
calls
friends
him
call
Dick.
him
He's a-
Dick, and he's
Tell you
called,
what, he's a deekhead, is what.
yeah,
he is.
he's called St. John
Yes.
because of Duke Nukem. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, there are some things that are like only for kids for sure. Look, take it, but I know I'm the Disney adult, right? But I think that a lot of that stuff is actually just for everyone. In a lot of ways, it's fun and sometimes good for you to just enjoy some of these simpler, pure, joyful things.
Calling things for children is disrespectful to children who can perceive and understand quite a bit, actually, and is also disrespectful to adults. Who
there's a line.
Can
like, if
also
you're sitting
do
there,
a bunch of stuff,
If you're sitting there watching Peppa Pig by yourself and you're in your 30s, maybe that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But like Astro Bot is just clearly it's an engaging platformer again with all this nostalgia bait. That's just clearly fun for everyone to go through if you have any kind of affinity for that kind of game.
Yeah, the real
Categorizing
answer.
something. Yeah, go on.
The real answer here is that it's not a kids game; it's a family-friendly game. But because people feel the need to tear things down, they frame it in the most derogatory way possible. So they group it in with like Elmo we talked about at the beginning of the show. That Elmo is for kids. Literally, he is there to educate children. That's for kids. But like having a family-friendly vibe, like Disney, or even like a targeting kids as your primary demographic, like Dial and Shop about Pokemon. I'm big into that. Obviously, targeting kids as the key demographic, but also anyone can enjoy. And you know what? Yeah, anyone can enjoy like whatever the hell you want. So it's all good.
You live once. Like anything that you find brings you joy is for you.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously it needs to be legal and
nobody's getting hurt
and don't get in trouble. No one's getting hurt. But like if you're playing a game or watching a movie or
going to
listening some
Disneyland
music, or doing some sort of Disney based thing, if it brings you joy, it's for you. Like it's not for anyone. And also like going on Twitter and letting them decide. If let's say we all went, yes, it's a kids game, would that change anything?
No,
like it still looks fun. It stays fun. You probably will play it.
Yeah.
Just play the game. Like life is too short for other people to tell you how you should be enjoying things and when you should be enjoying things. Just
plus Twitter arguments, that's not real life. And so much of that is bad faith going on there, or just you're just hearing from stupid people being amplified. It's
Deekheads.
The deekheads of the world.
Look, I don't have the music set up, so I haven't been keeping track of this. But Jans, what did we learn today? What we learned today is like whatever the hell you want to like, because that's pretty cool.
Like, and that brings this episode of the Giant Giant Bombcast to a close.
I was going to reference cookies and cream again, so it's a good thing you did shut me up. It's going to be a big problem.
Thank you, everyone, for listening this week. A bit of a weird week, as you can probably tell, because I am hosting the Giant Bombcast. Folks are out and about. People on trips. People aren't taking some personal time, etc., etc. We will attempt and probably be playing Space Marine at some point this week.
We're looking at UPF for that, I think.
Yeah, that'll probably be UPF. On Friday still?
Should be. Everyone should be back on Thursday, so Grub should be back for Game S mornings, and then we'll have
Well, my understanding is that we should still be, at least what I heard yesterday, we should still be good for Blight Club tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blight Club should still be going on.
Yeah, tentatively that stuff is going to happen. As Sean just said, Grub's going to be back, so GMM will pick up on Thursday, and we'll have one on Friday as well, and then there'll be a voicemail dump truck this week as well. We recorded a Jeff Just Bizarre Adventure earlier this week, and John Luke is editing that at some point soon. So you can look forward to that one appearing in your feed otherwise. But that's the plan. If things suddenly shift, please accept our apologies. Things are up in the air and stuff is happening that is uncontrollable, beyond our power to control. But we'll do our best to be here. Nikki, where can people find you? What are you up to recently?
You can find me on Twitter at Godsewa, Godsewa, and I have, if you do not know, a podcast called If You're Driving, Close Your Eyes. It's a comedy show.
It's really, really good.
If you like this, thank you so much. If you like me on this, I think you will also like me there. If you're driving, close your eyes.
Mitch.
Hey, I'm Tokoto everywhere on Twitch. Been streaming through the Souls series and kind of in the middle of Dark Souls 2 right now. So check me out there if you would like to see that.
Sean?
You can find me on twitter.com as @TurboSean _SHAWN. Please get it right if you're going to yell at me. That's the one thing I ask. But you can find me sitting in this chair editing this podcast when we're done here, because I'm doing this whole thing top to bottom. If you're watching on YouTube, hey, let me know how things went today. Very unorthodox Bombcast, but I think everything went well. So let me know how the production went, and I'll try to improve the next time I do this if anything went wrong.
We're not going to send out a survey, but you should act like there was a survey and tell us, how was the production? How are the guest hosts? How was the main host? Like, you can tell them never let Tam on again. We can switch up
don't
how
say
much
that.
time.
You did a good job
allow
hosting
Mitch to talk.
If you feel like that, write it down on a piece of paper and then fucking eat that piece of paper. Nobody cares.
Yes.
I don't have anything. Well, I'm not going to promote. The one thing I am involved with, I promoted earlier, which is Elsie, but I will instead promote a podcast that my friend just launched, Max Scoville, who you may know from IGN. Just started a podcast called This Thing Rules with Brian Altano.
Another cool
First
dude.
episode is up now, and it's a lot of fun. They have a Patreon too if you're interested in supporting them. But yeah, check it out. Just trying to shine some spotlight on other people doing cool stuff that I like and could be enjoyed by our crew here. But thank you, everyone. We'll see you again very soon. Bye.
Bye. Cookie.